Chapter 1588. It was a ghastly sight to behold. Jin Yangyun of the immortal tribe had suffered a crushing defeat and was trampled under Su Yan's feet. His heart was filled with endless humiliation and anger. He did not expect Su Yan to be so strong. He originally wanted to crush Su Yan to establish his dominance, but in the end, he was crushed by the enemy. Now, Jin Yangyun really wanted to find a piece of tofu to kill himself. I advise you to take back your words, Jin Yangyun said angrily. I can't represent the strongest of the younger generation of the immortal tribe. Our tribe also has the strongest immortal sovereign. Our immortal tribe is also an ancient tribe that shakes the immortal heavenly domain. We are not something a true immortal overlord can humiliate. The immortal golden body belonged to the immortal tribe. This was a well-known fact. Although the young devil king was strong, the immortal body belonged to him. If this news were spread, the entire immortal tribe would be furious. In an instant, Su Yan's aura surged countless times, like an overlord who suppressed all the kings in the world. He said coldly, "It's not impossible for a single person to lead an emperor tribe." Jin Yangyun was stunned. He could not say a word. He was almost choked to death. He pointed at Su Yan, his body trembling. He had obviously stolen their tribe's treasure body heavenly art, but he did not respect the immortal tribe, but respected himself instead. Of course, he did not expect Su Yan's conviction to be so strong. Jin Yangyun even felt an eternal and invincible aura that could devour the starry sky. This was a world-shaking conviction that had emerged from the weak. It was indestructible and could shatter everything. At this moment, Su Yan was brilliant, powerful and prosperous. His divine light shone in all directions, shocking everyone. Many onlookers in the distance were speechless. The young Devil King was too strong. His primordial spirit was injured, and he was not in his strongest state, but he could still erupt with such terrifying power. It was hard to imagine what level the young Devil King was at when he was at his peak. Some people felt that the young Devil King could be ranked among the strongest. He would definitely be able to contend for the top 10 of the monarch rankings in the future. The young Devil King. Soon, there were many pearls of powerful clans and spoiled daughters of great sections. Their eyes erupted with radiance as they gazed at the exceptionally brilliant young Devil King. They all wanted to follow him and witness the glory and legend he created. The current Su Yan was terrifying and shocking enough, wasn't it? Some girls sighed. If Su Yan was not from the Celestial Court, they might really follow him and beg their clans to take out primordial spirit medicine to help Su Yan to get through this crisis. But the young immortal heavens, the immortal heavens, and immortals, the reincarnated body of the underworld, the first paragon of the immortals, and the heaven-span young master. None of these three top experts would allow him to rise to prominence. The main reason was because of his identity and background. In the future, he would most likely face even more dangerous situations. Young Devil King, you still want to kill me? Jin Yangyun's face was cold. Although he was being stepped on, he had a defensive treasure on him. He would not lose his life. Su Yan used his palm energy to continuously strike the golden flesh shell. The latter muttered, "Brat, where did you hide your space-time treasure? Quickly hand it over." Jin Yangyun's face fell. He was searching for his space-time treasure. He wanted to rob him. In an instant, Jin Yangyun's flesh shell shone. The world in his body surged out. Although the aura was ancient, it contained boundless divine might that shook the starry sky. A terrifying aura spread out. It was as if a slumbering ancient weapon had awakened. A bronze cauldron that was only the size of a palm burst out in a moment of silence. Boundless aura surged out, as if it was supporting the entire starry sky. Supreme treasure of the grand heavenly realm. Su Yan's eyelids twitched. This ultimate weapon had awakened. The bronze cauldron shone brightly. A figure appeared at the mouth of the cauldron. It was as tall as heaven and earth. When it breathed out, the 10-square world trembled. The bronze cauldron spun and burned fiercely. A terrifying existence was faintly discernible in the flames. This was the manifestation of the cauldron's master. It suppressed Su Yin all of a sudden. Boom! The sea region was shattered into pieces. Boundless aura bloomed and covered the sky. All matter exploded. Even Su Yin was about to be pulverized. Tut! Su Yin shouted. The Milky Way gourd scattered the light of stars. The gourd quickly enlarged and revealed the runes of the great Tao. The entire gourd had changed. Su Yin activated the Milky Way gourd almost crazily, exhausting an immeasurable amount of divine energy. In the end, the Milky Way gourd was like a day song that came back to life. It smashed towards the descending bronze cauldron. The scene was quite terrifying. The vast sea region trembled. An earth-shattering storm surged out from the surface of the sea. Run! A large group of onlookers retreated. They wished they had more legs. This was a collision of grand heavenly treasures. It could destroy heaven and earth. True immortals could only despair. To be honest, Su Yan's face paled. A grand heavenly treasure was too powerful. If it was a real grand heavenly expert who knew how savage they were, their spiritual power was countless times that of a true immortal. In the past, there were immortals who could kill true immortals. But a true immortal killing a grand heavenly? It only existed in legends. At this moment, Su Yin felt that the legends were unreal. Under the awakening of a grand heavenly treasure, the heavens fell and the earth cracked. Ghosts cried and gods howled. The vast sea region was destroyed. At the same time, Su Yan's heart skipped a beat. It seemed like the Golden Waters was not bound by the order of the Emperor Road. Could it be that any treasure could unleash its strongest power? Young Demon King, I'll take my leave first. I'll settle this score with you in the future. Jin Yangyun kept the bronze cauldron and quickly retreated. They could not maintain the power of a grand heavenly treasure for a long time. If they delayed any longer, they would be in big trouble. They might even lose their lives. Leave the treasure behind before you go. Su Yin shouted angrily. His black hair danced in the wind, and killing intent shot out from his eyes. He threw out the Milky Way gourd again. It spewed out the power of the Milky Way, which contained the stars of the universe. It was spectacular, as if the Milky Way had descended from the nine heavens. It rushed towards Jin Yangyun. Jin Yangyun coughed out blood. He frantically gathered the true immortal energy in his body and unleashed the power of the bronze cauldron. It collided with the energy spat out by the Milky Way gourd. Not good. Suddenly, Jin Yangyun's expression changed drastically. He sensed that a great danger was approaching. In fact, it was almost within reach. He screamed. His broken body burned the undying bloodline. He took out a bow with a monstrous aura. He did not even have the time to awaken this red bow. He used it as a weapon and smashed it towards the collapsed void in front of him. Ghostly evasion. Su Yin appeared and disappeared like a ghost and attacked Jin Yangyun. Su Yin caught the incoming bow without hesitation. He steadied himself and said coldly, "Do you think you can escape? But if you hand over the bronze cauldron, I can't consider letting you go." Bastard. Jin Yangyun was exasperated. The bronze cauldron was the supreme treasure of the Undying tribe. If it was lost, the entire tribe would come to punish him. Grand Luo's supreme treasures were relatively rare and precious. They were limited even for immortal sections. Even newly ascended Grand Luo experts would find it difficult to gather the materials to forge a Grand Luo supreme treasure. Jin Yangyun could vaguely feel his hair stand on end. At this moment, he felt that Su Yan's powerful aura was everywhere in the sky and on the ground. It was as if a gust of wind and a piece of cloud had become Su Yan's incarnation, and he could erupt with a peak-killing intent at any time. What was that? Naturally, it was the power of the 9 escape techniques. Su Yan, who was protected by the 8 escape techniques, came and went without a trace. Needless to say, tracking enemies was almost impossible. "Leave the bronze cauldron," Su Yan said coldly. "As you said, take it as an apology to me." Su Yan did not unleash a killing blow. If Zhu Yangyun was forced into a corner and sacrificed himself to activate the bronze cauldron, Su Yin would also be injured. The matter of the ancient Kuan Peng corpse was not over yet. Su Yin had to conserve his battle strength. Isn't that too domineering? The onlookers were stunned. It was just a naked threat to ask for Jin Yongyun's strongest treasure. I feel that if it wasn't for the Undying Tribe, Jin Yongyun would have died. Someone whispered. The Undying Tribe took the initiative to attack the young Demon King. Even if he was killed, the Undying Tribe would not say anything on the surface. But I'm afraid they would play some tricks behind his back. In short, Su Yan's performance was extremely domineering, forcing Jin Yongyun to bow his head. The bronze cauldron was thrown away. Jin Yongyun did not say a word and fled in a sorry state. The atmosphere between heaven and earth was stifling. Many people looked at Su Yin with respect in their hearts. He was so powerful that Jin Yongyun had to bow his head. Jin Yongyun is most likely finished. Someone whispered. Back then, Jin Yongyun was suppressed by the Xian people's #1 supreme being. Now, he was forced to flee in a sorry state by the young Demon King. Su Yan's expression was solemn as he stored the bronze cauldron into the Milky Way gourd. Heaven's sealing bottle. At this time, cries of alarm came from the distance. Su Yan was astonished. His heavenly eyes saw through the boundless sea and saw the golden treasured ship. It had long since approached the location of the ancient Kuan Peng corpse. The Skirich young master and the others were below the treasured ship. Almost every one of them had taken action. However, the ancient history of millions of meters long flowed with supreme heavenly might. Even though it had been dead for countless years, its corpse was still not something ordinary people could profane. The group of young supreme beings were helpless and could only stare helplessly. In the end, the wondrous Heaven's Saint Child took out a jet black bottle. The bottle was as black as ink and was considerably exquisite. The moment it erupted, the heaven and earth turned jet black. The entire space-time fell into a sealed state. Suppress. The Skirich young master and the others chose to work together to activate this jet black bottle. In a flash, this supreme treasure was revived. The bottle's mouth was like a black abyss as it enveloped the ancient Kuan Peng corpse. Boom! The vast black fish was as black as ink and emitted a terrifying aura. The ancient heaven-sealing bottle was awakening. It was as if a black universe was devouring it. It actually caused the ancient Kuan Peng corpse to sway, as if it was about to be swallowed by the heaven-sealing bottle. Attack with all your might. Yin Juanhao and the others were ecstatic. This was the heaven-sealing bottle, which was said to be able to seal heaven and earth. It was the supreme treasure of the mystic sect. The terrifying bottle suppressed the ancient Kuan Peng corpse at the moment when it was about to completely swallow it. This million-meter-long ancient corpse seemed to have really revived. It emitted an unparalleled, ferocious aura, causing the heaven-sealing bottle to tremble violently as if it was about to explode. Suppress. The Skirich young master and the others almost roared. On the ancient ship, more than a dozen experts had fully awakened. They stood at their peak state and activated the heaven-sealing bottle's power on a deeper level, creating a certain resistance against the ancient Kuan Peng corpse's power. At this moment, Su Yin crossed the vast sea and took out Jin Yongyun's red bow. What is he doing? Some people who noticed the young Devil King's actions were all dumbfounded. In the next moment, their scalps almost exploded. They saw the young Devil King make his move. He pulled the red bow and attacked the heaven-sealing bottle. Crazy. Everyone present roared. This was too domineering. He directly pulled the bow and shot an arrow to disrupt the heaven-sealing bottle. This was also a declaration of war against the 10,000 experts on the ship. Chapter 1589. Darkness shrouded the boundless sea region. The sky-sealing bottle was awakening, releasing waves of sky-sealing force. It was about to swallow the ancient Kuan Peng corpse. Many people did not wish for the odd skies saint to succeed. Similarly, some people were shocked. The Golden Ocean region was not restricted by the Emperor Road's rules. Powerful supreme treasures could unleash divine power. If that was the case, the ancient Kuan Peng corpse would most likely be taken by them. After all, the ancient Kunpeng corpse was of great importance. The corpse's value was already shocking enough. However, its frontal bone was intact and contained the Kunpeng's most powerful divine ability. Who wouldn't be tempted? Once the ancient Kunpeng corpse was taken by them, the consequences would be unimaginable. If a few young paragons could use an earth-shattering divine ability to strengthen their foundation, they would be even more ferocious in the Emperor Rankings contest in the future. Su Yin naturally wanted the Kunpeng's secret skill. He felt that he was lacking a divine ability with peerless offensive power. Only then could he unleash Su Yan's strongest physical strength. Now, Su Yan could not get it by himself. However, he would not watch the ancient Kunpeng corpse fall into the hands of the enemy. Boom! The boundless darkness was suddenly torn apart by a scarlet bolt of lightning. It was breathtaking. The arrow light was frighteningly fast. No one's mind could keep up with it. The darkness was completely illuminated. The scarlet arrow light was like a giant lightning bolt, surging forward and colliding with the sky sealing bottle. Boom! In an instant, the sky sealing bottle shook violently. Many cracks appeared on the sky sealing field, causing the ancient Kunpeng corpse's divine power to attack. The powerful Yin Juanhao and the others felt as if they were facing a desperate situation in the universe. They were terrified. They coughed out blood as their bodies trembled. Their hair was disheveled, and they were in a sorry state. There were also people who were terrified. They were definitely going to be killed. The ancient Kunpeng corpse was too powerful. Without the sky sealing bottle, it was impossible to suppress it. Who is it? The scary young master was furious. Who dared to stop them? Did they want to die? The people on the ancient ship were all enraged. None of them were simple characters. Their eyes emitted a bone-chilling coldness. They didn't expect that someone would dare to interfere and ruin their plan. Young Devil King. Yin Junhao's sharp eyes stared at Su Yin as he roared in a low voice. This bastard, he actually still dares to come here. Who gave him the guts to act against us? These people were really surprised. They never thought that Su Yin would be so domineering, directly interfering with them. Young Devil King. The scary young master was gritting his teeth in hatred. Su Yin had ruined his plans. If he hadn't taken action in the Five Elements treasure trove, perhaps the Grand Saintess would have already been suppressed by him. He might even have been beaten up by Su Yin. This debt was engraved in his heart. How could he forget it? Now that he saw Su Yin, the scary young master's eyes turned red. He roared in a low voice. He dares to attack us. Even if he has 10 lives, it won't be enough for us to kill. I think he is too arrogant. If we don't suppress him, he will think that the Emperor's road is his world. The marvelous sky, Saint Sun's face was gloomy. He was surprised that Su Yin had taken action. At the same time, he felt uneasy. Now that they were working together to activate the sky sealing bottle to suppress the ancient Kunpeng corpse, if Su Yin continued to attack, it might ruin their plan. Young Devil King, I advise you to stay away. Don't look for trouble. The marvelous sky, Saint Sun threatened. Otherwise, I guarantee that you will die without a complete corpse. Su Yin stood 10,000 li away from them. Outside, his hair draped over his shoulders. His eyes were cold. In an instant, he drew the crimson bow once again. Boom! This crimson bow was suffused with an ominous aura. It was forged from the bones of a great vicious beast and required great strength to draw it. However, Su Yin was extremely valiant. He unleashed all of his strength, and a terrifying fire glow flowed out of the crimson bow. It was as if a sleeping war beast was awakening. Suddenly, a crimson arrow shot out and charged towards the heaven-sealing bottle. Bastard! Yin Junhao roared. However, it was extremely difficult for him to divert his attention to resist Su Yan's methods. Their strength was all gathered in the sky sealing bottle, so they could not divert their attention in a short period of time. No matter. However, the marvelous sky, Saint Sun's expression was cold. He said confidently, "The hanging beam clown is not a cause for concern. I have my own methods to deal with him. After we suppress the ancient Kunpeng corpse, we will go and crush him. The era of the celestial court will also come to an end." At this time, 2 old servants stood out from the treasured ship. They worked together to activate the treasured ship. This huge treasured ship suddenly surged with resplendent runic fields. The 8 great escape techniques appeared one after another, setting off the treasured ship's grandeur. It was as if a peak-killing array had been activated. At the same time, a sea of immortal Tao stones burned, not giving the treasured ship the energy it needed. Boom! The crimson arrow hit the escape technique runes of the treasured ship. It was like a clay ox entering the sea, and did not cause much of a storm. Ha! This scene made the Tongtian young master and the others laugh. A valiant vermilion bird bathed in divine fire said coldly, "The hanging beam clown still wants to target us. Young Demon King, what other methods do you have? Just use them. Since you want to see, I'll do as you wish." Su Yan replied. He was gradually getting used to the power of the bow. All of a sudden, the sea started to boil. All the experts who were looking at him were shocked. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The crimson bow was incomparably resplendent. In an extremely short period of time, Su Yan drew the bow 18 times. It was as if 18 seas were shot out, rushing towards the treasured ship. The shocking scene was indescribable. The 18 arrow attacks were too tyrannical. The ancient ship's protective field trembled violently, and the ship rumbled. Kill! A roar exploded. Su Yan swallowed the starry sky, and his hair danced in the wind. His strength was shocking. Once again, he drew the bow 36 times. It was hard to imagine how magnificent his body's essence was. 36 consecutive sword beams fell from the sky, smashing towards the ancient ship. Everyone felt that the ancient ship was about to be pierced through and exploded. A storm of energy swept across the sky. The ancient ship's protective formation burned fiercely. The 8 escape technique appeared, as if it was outlining a sea of chaos. It surged violently, and its momentum was earth-shaking. What a terrifying ancient ship! The young Demon King might not be able to break it. There's a domain on the ancient ship. It's too difficult to break it, but the young Demon King's move is too frightening. The domain was almost destroyed by him. Everyone was shocked. The Wondrous Heaven Sect was indeed the Wondrous Heaven Sect. The ancient ship was quite frightening. The domain continued to operate without any signs of decline. However, at this time, strands of world-shocking killing intent were awakening. It was like a cold wind sweeping through the sea region, freezing people's souls. Jin Yun, who was traveling far away, had an unsightly expression. He felt endless humiliation. He gazed at the distant world. A terrifying figure was pulling the crimson bow. He didn't expect Su Yan to be able to shoot out the crimson bow's most terrifying power. That's right, the bow was densely covered with runes. Because the runes were fused together. At its peak, it was peerlessly powerful. Boom! The starry sky was destroyed, and a large crack was torn open. The entire bow surged with fiery light, erupting with a streak of radiance that left all sides in fear. The vast sea region trembled, as if it was going to flip over. This arrow was too terrifying. The arrow radiance turned into an archaic vermilion bird. Holy light surged, as if it was attacking the great cosmos. Its offensive power was world-shaking, destroying everything in its path. Even the ancient ship at its destination was shaking violently. The people of the world were shaken. The ancient ship's domain was directly blasted apart. The archaic vermilion bird attacked murderously, smashing into the enormous precious ship until it trembled fiercely. In addition, a large crack appeared on the ship. Shameful! Wondrous Heaven's holy child's eyes were red. This was but his supreme treasure, yet it was destroyed by Su Yan just like that. It was an extraordinary humiliation. A bow made from the bones of a vermilion bird. At this time, on the ancient ship, a divine bird rushed out. It was bathed in raging flames. Its wings spread out like the clouds in the sky. Its figure was too enormous, covering tens of thousands of li. Its enormous wings were enough to split apart the great stars of the universe. Kill! The vermilion bird roared. With a horizontal strike, The heavenly dome was torn apart, killing light shining endlessly. There wasn't much to say. It erupted with its most powerful fighting strength right after taking action, wishing to kill Su Yin in a single move. Similarly, this bow was made from the bones of a vermilion bird. If it fell into its hands, it would definitely become a great killing weapon, its power second only to a great immortal supreme treasure. This was one of the highest level treasures. After all, this bow was something not even Jin Yangyun had the qualifications to display its most powerful state. The people of the world didn't know the origins of this bow, never expecting it to be made from the bones of a vermilion bird. Young Devil King, hand over your life for me. The vermilion bird released a low roar, its wings moving. Its speed was too fast, directly slaughtering its way over. Pong! Su Yan's body shone. Facing the incoming vermilion bird, he directly took action. The friend of an enemy was an enemy, so he didn't show any mercy at all. Kill! Su Yan roared into the sky. His body flowed with a majestic aura as the Genesis Sutra was unleashed. At the same time, the Genesis Universe fist erupted. This fist was peerless and terrifying. Because he was wearing the heavenly beast gloves, Su Yan's fist momentum was like a majestic universe, exuding a domineering aura. The vermilion bird's body trembled violently. No matter how hard its body was, no matter how sturdy its divine beast body was. Facing Su Yan's terrifying attack, its flesh shell trembled, feathers flew, and blood spurted out from its pores. Its entire body was about to fall into the sea as it trembled. The vermilion bird was terrified. It was targeted by an overlord who wanted to kill it with a single strike. Puff! It directly spat out a mouthful of flames that contained a killing sword. It slashed at Su Yan to buy time to escape. However, it was useless. Su Yan's fist was unparalleled. The heavenly beast gloves glowed, and his supreme fighting strength was unleashed. If God or Buddha stood in his way, he would kill Buddha. Kill! Su Yan roared like a terrifying overlord. He raised his fist and punched the sky. His terrifying essence, chi, and spirit soared into the sky. His terrifying majesty was reflected in the golden starry sky. He was the only supreme existence. Boom! The killing sword collapsed and exploded into pieces. The peerless fist broke through the vermilion bird's flesh shell. This was a bloody scene, but at the same time, it was also shocking. The people couldn't believe their eyes. This was an expert on the monarch ranking, a divine bird of a generation. Now, a peerless war immortal punched the divine bird into pieces with a single punch. Blood splattered across the starry sky. Chapter 1590. The bloody scene froze in everyone's eyes. A vermilion bird was smashed into pieces by Su Yan's fist. Its broken body fell into the sea, wailing in agony. It felt fear and despair. It was an expert on the top 10,000 list, a second heaven true immortal. But now, it was killed with a single punch, without any room to struggle or resist. It was too cruel and despairing. Many people felt a chill in their hearts, and they were afraid of Su Yan. This was the ferocious power of someone who could defeat the top 10 on the monarch board. Su Yan was a true immortal. Even though his primordial spirit was damaged, he was still extremely domineering. At this moment, they realized that not everyone could compete with him. Only the invincible young paragons were qualified to fight with him. The second and third-rate young experts could not compete with him at all. Otherwise, they would have to suffer the cruel fate of being killed. Su Yan's long black hair was disheveled, and his body reeked of blood. He held the red bow and looked down at the wailing vermilion bird. It had lost its will to fight, and its primordial spirit was gradually dimming. It was dying. Sigh. In the distant world, Jin Yangyun sighed, and his heart was filled with mixed feelings. Su Yan had already shown mercy, and did not treat him as a mortal enemy. Otherwise, he would not have been able to escape unscathed. He was a little depressed. With such a devil king standing in front of the monarch road, what hope did he have in the future to fight for a stronger seat? The entire sea area seemed to have calmed down. On the treasure ship, other than the Tongtian young master and the others, some of them were trembling in fear. They could not help but wonder if it was really safe to stand with the Tongtian young master. Su Yan's strength had shaken their minds. They knew that the grudge between the celestial court and the strange heaven sect was difficult to resolve. In the future, they would have to fight to the death. The one who survived would be the king of the world, and the one who died would be worthless. Participating in the cruelest competition among the younger generation, they really had to consider whether they were worthy enough. Vicious is too strong. He really has the battle prowess of the top 10 on the monarch ranking. That's terrifying. He killed the vermilion bird with a single strike. It's a young devil king at the true immortal realm. It won't be difficult for him to get into the top 100. He has the potential to become one of the top 10 on the emperor's ranking. Could it be that the young devil king will be one of the top 10 strongest cultivators in the future? Many people's hearts trembled, finding it difficult to calm down. A terrifying existence was about to rise up. Su Yan, who was at the true immortal realm, already revealed his sharpness. Haha, what's the point of relying on artifacts? The Tongtian young master smiled. His eyes were somewhat sinister because he recognized what the silver glove on Su Yan's hand was. His heart was filled with rage. He had exchanged blows with the Saintess several times, so he knew very well that this was the Saintess' most precious treasure. But why had it fallen into Su Yan's hands? Why? Could it be that something had really happened between them? Su Yan had nothing to say. He pulled the red bow again. This scene made Yin Juanhao and the others jump up and down. Was there no need to anger the young Devil King now? Right now, suppressing the ancient Kuan Peng was the most important thing. They had already paid such a high price. They couldn't let all their efforts go to waste because of a young Devil King. This ancient corpse is really powerful. Its flesh shell still has a terrifying function. If we can really salvage it, we can definitely forge an earth-shattering artifact. At this moment, Su Yan's eyes fell on the 100,000 zhang long skeleton. The skeleton was gradually awakening with an ominous aura. It was like an ancient life that had been dormant for a long time was awakening. It was like a terrifying ancient divine beast. Not good. At this moment, the mysterious sky, Saint's sun, and the others' faces changed. The aura of the ancient Kuan Peng made them panic. The heaven-sealing vase shook violently, and dense cracks appeared on the black vase. This scene made the mysterious sky, Saint's sun, go crazy. He almost coughed out a mouthful of blood. If he couldn't get the ancient Kuan Peng corpse, would his treasure be destroyed too? Gotcha! Gradually, the ominous aura emitted by the ancient Kuan Peng corpse intensified. The cracks on the heaven-sealing vase also increased, and it began to shake. This isn't the real thing. It's a replica, someone said in a low voice. These words caused a sneer. The real thing? The real heaven-sealing vase is one of the 3 supreme treasures of the mysterious sky sect. How could it be given to a true, immortal saint's son? However, even if it's a replica, it's still at the grand heavenly level. I didn't expect this ancient corpse to be so powerful. Too many people's eyes turned red. Just the corpse alone could shatter a grand heavenly level supreme treasure. Unfortunately, this ancient corpse was too powerful. No one could subdue it. Who knew what level its hidden strength was at? Let's go. The mysterious sky, Saint's son, was decisive. He chose to give up on the heaven-sealing vase and left on the ancient ship. Boom! In just a few breaths of time, the heaven-sealing vase directly exploded. The enormous ancient corpse was over 100,000 zhang long. Its eyes vaguely emitted boundless cold intent. Many people were terrified. They all felt that this ancient corpse might still be alive. Bastard! How can a dead corpse be so powerful? How high was its cultivation when it was alive? Even after nursing a grievance, it could still emit such a powerful remnant might. On the ancient ship, some people were indignant. They had all paid a great price, but they didn't expect that their efforts would be in vain. In the end, they didn't obtain anything. Moreover, the 100,000 zhang long ancient corpse was still in the sea, returning to silence. In fact, no one was willing to cooperate with others to salvage the corpse of a supreme treasure. It's all this bastard's fault. The heaven-span young master was furious. He stared coldly at Su Yin and said, "If you don't kill me, my anger won't be appeased." "I agree with this suggestion." In Junhao nodded. He stared at Su Yin and said, "The young devil king is too arrogant. If we don't kill this person, will our face go?" The saint son of the marvelous sky didn't say a word. His expression was cold. He controlled the treasure ship to cross the sea towards Su Yin. The speed of the ship was very fast. It was getting closer and closer to Su Yin. On the ship, some experts' expressions changed. They didn't want to participate in this kind of battle. The death of the vermilion bird was a bloody warning. However, it wasn't the best time to leave now. If news of this spread, they would be mocked by others. "We have so many people. Why should we be afraid of a young devil king?" Immediately after, these people's expressions gradually turned cold. There were a total of more than 10 experts. Although the vermilion bird had died, there were still 13 experts on the ancient ship. They were all existences ranked in the top 10,000 on the Emperor rankings. "Young Devil King, you're really brave. Aren't you going to run?" In Junhao's expression was cold. He was a little surprised that Su Yin was still standing at the same place. "Run?" Su Yin sneered. He admitted that this group was powerful. He couldn't fight against them alone. However, what did Su Yin have to fear? He had grasped the 8 great escape techniques of the occult gate. If he wanted to leave, who could stop him? "If I don't kill a few of you, wouldn't this trip be a waste?" Very quickly, Su Yin said a sentence. It was like a hurricane that swept through this sea area. The spectators were all trembling. A single person was fighting against more than 10 experts. Some people felt that the young Devil King was too crazy. Even more people's eyes were blazing. If they really fought, it would definitely be a great battle that would shake the ancients and dazzle the contemporaries. Even if Su Yin was defeated and ran away, he would still leave behind a glorious legend. The penetrating power of this sentence was extremely strong. It suppressed the hearts of those who didn't want to see Su Yin as their enemy. It made them feel a little frightened. This guy had always been savage. If he really fought with his life on the line, he might even kill a few of them. Suddenly, on the ancient ship, an expert left at an extremely fast speed. The spectators were dumbfounded. They were completely petrified and couldn't say a word. The young master of the Tongtian sect and the others' faces stiffened. One of them ran away. In fact, another one left in a hurry. He didn't dare to stay for long. The saint of the marvelous sky sect and the others clenched their fists. Their faces were ashen and gloomy. They were trying their best to suppress the anger in their hearts. However, even if they were suppressing it, they were so angry that their bodies were trembling. The flames of fury in their hearts devoured their minds. Their eyes turned red and were filled with cold, killing intent. Ha 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 ha. Su Yin laughed heartily. Every laugh was like a slap to their faces. It was burning hot and painful. Su Yan's laughter was like a slap to their faces. 2 pieces of trash. In Junhao was furious. He was here to hold the line. What was there to be afraid of? A young devil king. Could he be so heaven-defying that he could defeat everyone? The young master of the Tongtian sect was so angry that he couldn't speak. The top 3 experts of the monarch ranking were here. Why were they afraid? How can a dead man laugh? The mysterious sky, saint's son, was cold. His eyes were like a poisonous snake as he stared at Su Yin. Putting aside letting go of the Tongtian young master, either he or In Junhao was qualified to fight Su Yin to the death. Ha ha, 2 of them are scared away. If I don't laugh, wouldn't it be awkward? How awkward would that be? At this moment, a handsome young man in gray walked over. He carried a giant sword embryo on his back and appeared in the sea. Fan Jian. In Junhao glared at him and said, "This has nothing to do with you. Don't get yourself into trouble." "Damn it, I'm just here to interfere. What can you do to me?" Fan Jian was furious. He drew out his 5-meter-long sword and pointed it at In Junhao. "Come out if you have the guts. Let's have a duel." In Junhao was furious. He stood out and wanted to suppress Fan Jian. The saint of the marvelous sky sect had a strange expression. Could it be that the #1 sword in the world was friends with the young devil king? I heard that the #1 sword in the world has unparalleled sword skills. Why don't I have a taste of it? At this moment, a peerlessly valiant man walked over. Space and time seemed to vanish with every step he took, and his body seethed with an ancient chaotic light. He was filled with vast divine might that existed eternally. The young master of the Tongtian sect was shocked. He looked at Zhu Yanghua and felt that there was a shocking treasure hidden in his body. Zhu Yanghua. There were endless storms in the sea. Another legendary figure had arrived. No one had thought that the declining sky bamboo would have such an outstanding talent like Zhu Yanghua. Zhu Yanghua's strength was undeniable. He was the second expert to trigger the monarch ranking to descend. Zhu Yanghua, who had merged with the root of the primogeniture, had a limitless future. You think you're qualified? Fan Jian said coldly. In Junhao, you two can come together. Su Yan was facing several powerful enemies. He wanted to share some of the pressure for Su Yan. Haha, brother, you're so generous. How can I let you fight 2 experts alone? In the distant sea, a battleship was traveling at an incredible speed. It was as if the battleship was surrounded by endless flames. It crushed the sea and rushed toward the battlefield at an extremely fast speed. On the battleship were Yin Ke, Da Li, Yi Yuan, Tai Rooster, Long Day Song, Tensor, and the silver-haired young lady. The 7 experts were emitting shocking energy waves. They were all true immortal experts. Moreover, Yin Ke, Yi Yuan, Da Li, and Tensor had all obtained the top 10,000 spots on the monarch ranking. It was quite shocking. The sea was in chaos. The battlefield expanded, and more experts were involved. Chapter 1591. Are they going to fight to the death with the young paragons? Someone's voice was trembling. The entire sea region was trembling because of their qi presence. One must know that the Celestial Court had obtained 5 spots on the Emperor rankings. Each of them was a true immortal expert. Now that the strongest of the Celestial Court had gathered together, they formed a shocking energy storm. Ha ha ha, Su Yan laughed. He didn't expect them to come. His brothers gathered together again. They stood on a richly decorated warship and chatted happily. Su Yan, this is Lord Yin, Emperor's personal disciple, Long Xiao Xiao. At this moment, Yin Ke pointed to a silver-haired young lady. She had fair skin, big eyes, and was full of spirit. On her snow-white forehead, there was a pair of sparkling horns. The silver-haired young lady was a little embarrassed and shy. However, she was curious about how the young Devil King looked like. She didn't expect him to be so young. He was rumored to be very ferocious. Aowu. Long Day Song howled and shook his head. He seemed to be very close to Long Xiao Xiao. Su Yan was surprised. He could vaguely sense a true dragon qi in Long Xiao Xiao's body. He took out a small jar of dragon blood and gave it to her. In the past, Su Yan didn't use up all of his dragon and phoenix blood. He didn't need the rest. Thank you, Devil King. Long Xiao Xiao laughed happily and blushed. She corrected him embarrassedly. No, big brother Su Yan. Ha ha. Yi Yuan and the others laughed. Long Xiao Xiao was extraordinary. She missed out on the Emperor Rankings competition. They believed that she would rise in the future. She was Yin, Emperor's personal disciple. She had the dragon race's bloodline and was extremely talented. Huh. Long Xiao Xiao raised her head and stroked her silver hair with her small hands. Her large eyes narrowed into crescents as she smiled happily as well. Yi Yuan and the others took good care of her and treated her as their little junior sister. At this moment, In Junhao and the others were glaring at Su Yan and the others on the warship of the Mystic Sky sect. They were reminiscing about the past and talking loudly, as if they didn't treat this place as a battlefield. It had to be said that this shocked and angered them. At the same time, they didn't expect that the Celestial Court would send a group of true immortal overlords. This was somewhat beyond their expectations. Su Yan, while we were on our way here, we saw a large number of experts from the Xian people converging on this place. Yi Yuan said coldly, "Be careful." Although Su Yan was very good at fighting, it was difficult for 2 fists to fight against 4 hands. If they really fought head-on, they would be at a disadvantage. Moreover, finding the Baokai was their top priority. Now that there was still no trace of the first supreme master of the Xian people, they were a little uneasy. Su Yan nodded. The crimson bow in his hand shone brightly. His long hair danced in the wind, and his eyes were filled with coldness. His battle blood was boiling, and his entire being seemed especially powerful and flourishing. On the golden treasure ship, some people's hearts trembled fiercely. Previously, they had all seen how barbaric and violent Su Yin was with the bow. They were really worried that the mysterious Heaven Saint Child's treasure ship would be completely destroyed. Once the treasure ship was lost, it would be difficult to move freely in the sea, and they would even have to face the attacks of the sea monsters. At present, no one knew that the monsters in the water were as simple as great tonics. That was the extreme young fish, and 1,000 Zhonglong one at that. The energy it contained was bound to be world-shaking. Just a pile of ashes, the Heavenspan young master said, his eyes cold. After suffering losses at the hands of Su Yin, he felt sullen and uncomfortable. He urgently wanted to regain his lost face. Thus, Su Yan's killing intent was born. Su Yan's eyes were like lightning. The bow in his hand shone fiercely and intimidatingly. One could vaguely see an archaic vermilion bird about to attack the treasure ship. The mysterious Heaven Saint Child smile was cold. Although Su Yan's side was strong, he did not believe that they could not suppress them. If they could kill the young Devil King, they would be able to return with great rewards. They want to kill all of us. Yi Yuan sneered. He was not afraid of them. His entire flesh shell shone. The second firmament, true immortal Yi Yuan, was powerful and flourishing. The martial aura flowing through his body became thicker and thicker. A terrifying figure faintly appeared behind him. Su Yin was pleasantly surprised. Yi Yuan's grasp of the prehistoric Big Brother's Tao and skills had become more and more exquisite. The experts of the two sides stood on the treasure ship. Killing intent leaked out, and they were ready to attack. A terrifying pressure swept out, sweeping across the vast sea. The spectators in the distance were unsettled. A decisive battle was about to begin. No matter the result, it would shake the world. It's the young Devil King. At this time, in the distant sea, treasure ships crossed the sea. Although it was difficult to compare with the treasure ships controlled by the Flame Sparrow and the mysterious Heaven Saint Child, there were more than 10 treasure ships crossing the sea. On each ship, there was a large number of true immortal experts. Cold killing intent was spreading out, boiling like the sea. The vast sea was shaking violently. A shocking battle was about to break out. Xiao Xiao, it's up to you. The Flame Sparrow rubbed Xiao Xiao's forehead. Su Yin was surprised. Did this little girl with silver hair down to her waist have some special methods? Dragon horn? Su Yin was astonished when he saw Long Xiao Xiao hugging a huge dragon horn in her small hand. The aura of a true dragon was terrifying. It was accompanied by a might that had existed since ancient times. When spread out, Su Yin and the others were shocked. The ancient dragon horn was filled with an ancient aura. The owner of this dragon horn must have been extremely powerful when he was alive. Boom! As she blew on her dragon horn, it was as if she were blowing a primeval bugle horn that could summon all of the heavens. In the blink of an eye, the sea began to tremble, and millions upon millions of tempests and tsunamis rose up on the surface of the sea. Boom! Long Xiao Xiao's cheeks were puffed up high, and her face was flushed red. She tried her best to stimulate the primordial dragon horn with all her might, causing it to shine and surge with a vast divine might that engulfed the entire sea region. Heavens! Run, run! Countless people were terrified. They frantically retreated. Someone lost control and said, "This is a true dragon horn. It can control the sea area." A true dragon was the king of dragons in the water. The horn it dropped was extremely shocking. Once it was blown, the entire sea area would go berserk. Endless waves were born, rushing towards the distant battleships. Run, run! On the battleships, the experts were terrified. This was like an ocean crashing down. Before it even got close, the battleships were already on the verge of exploding. The dozen or so battleships shook violently. Faced with the endless tsunami attack, The golden seawater surged, washing the heavens and drowning the universe. It was enough to destroy the heavens and earth. Archaic dragonhorn. In Junhao's eyes turned red. What are you waiting for? Take action immediately and suppress this woman. She must be a dragon race cultivator with true dragon blood in her body. Otherwise, it will be difficult to activate the true dragon horn. At the same time, Skirich's young master and the others rushed over. Although the surging waves swept over, it was very difficult to threaten them. Zheng! Su Yan's eyes erupted with killing intent. The bow was revived. In an instant, it exploded to its peak state. A vermilion bird bathed in 3,000 Dao flames attacked the great universe, slaughtering its way towards Skirich's young master and the others. Kill! Yuan and the others roared. They rushed up together with Su Yan, slaughtering their way towards Wondrous Heaven, Saint Sun, and the others. A great battle erupted. It was very sudden and very fast. Fan Jian walked out and asked, "Little girl, you must be tired, right? Let me blow it. It will definitely affect their battle prowess." Yin Ke shook her head and said, "This horn can only be fully activated by experts of the true dragon bloodline. This is the Yin Emperor's supreme treasure." He gave it to Long Xiao Xiao to protect herself. Fan Jian was a little speechless. Long Daesong was a little restless. Its golden beast eyes widened like child's. It shook Long Xiao Xiao's arm with its big claws and stared at the dragon horn with its beast eyes, indicating that it wanted to give it a try. The silver-haired girl hesitated for a moment and handed the horn to Long Daesong. Long Daesong shouted excitedly. Its big claws hugged the horn and blew it fiercely. Boom! The starry sky exploded. The entire sea trembled, and billions of tsunamis surged. Long Xiao Xiao was dumbfounded. The archaic dragon horn had changed. It was terrifying beyond compare. A huge azure dragon emerged, sweeping through the 3,000 universes. It was peerlessly domineering. Tens of thousands of golden true dragons soared in the vast sea region. What is that? In the distant sea region, many people were stunned. The true dragons came out of the sea, tearing the warships apart. Many experts in the ships exploded in fear. There was even a huge azure dragon that spanned 100,000 miles. Its roar shook the starry sky. It was as if a living azure dragon had come out of its body, shattering the void. Junhao and the others were trembling. Their bodies were about to explode, especially the mysterious sky Saint Sun. His head was a little stiff. His treasure ship had exploded, and nothing was left of it. The aura of the azure dragon filled the sky, turning into killing sound waves. It was as if 100,000 true dragons had descended. Su Yan was a little stunned. This horn was too powerful. The sound waves were all-pervasive. This was a great killing weapon that could raise morale and intimidate strong enemies. In just one exchange, the sky fell and the earth cracked. This was simply to kill all the enemies alive. The Skirich's young master was furious. He opened his battle armor. At the same time, he waved his hand, and a terrifying halberd entered his mouth. It was as if it could split open the sea. "Great killing weapon, retreat quickly," Miser shouted. They felt a chill all over their bodies. They were affected by the halberd, and their bodies were about to break apart. The flame sparrow's expression changed. What level of supreme treasure was this? Its sharpness was exceptional, its brilliance overflowing into the heavens. It was enough to destroy the world. "Young Devil King, hand over your life." The Skirich's young master roared. He used his battle armor to isolate the dragon horn's sound waves. He brandished the dazzling halberd, descending from the sky. He wanted to directly hack Su Yan apart. "Retreat!" The flame sparrow cried out. This supreme treasure was too terrifying. Even the heavens collapsed with a large black crack. The great halberd was too frightening. It was densely covered in resplendent symbols, surging with terrifying immortal Tao radiance. It was simply the most powerful supreme treasure that could destroy everything. However, something shocking happened. When the great halberd almost instantly hacked down on Su Yan's forehead bone shone, quickly surging with blazing light. An imprint appeared. Holy light was like a sea, and a grand aura was released. It was as if the condensed universe returned to the space between his brows. Suyan's blood was boiling. He felt that this was the source supreme treasure he had lost. This was a weapon that belonged to him, his left and right arms. They were somewhat connected by flesh and blood. Chapter 1592. Suyan's heart skipped a beat. What was going on? Instantly, he thought of many things. This shiny halberd was a heavenly weapon nurtured by the bronze weapon tree that the Golden Maiden was in charge of. Here came the problem. This heavenly weapon was nurtured by the Xianhuang universe's origin power. But who was Suyan? He was the supreme of the Xianhuang universe and possessed the complete imprint of the Xianhuang universe. Since it was an origin treasure, it naturally belonged to Suyan. This made Suyan ecstatic. This was a peerless treasure that had been nurtured for a long time. Its value was unimaginable, and its power was extraordinary. Perhaps even supreme experts would be jealous of it. Wang. Suyan activated the imprint between his eyebrows, releasing a terrifying light of order. It illuminated the shiny halberd, wanting it to return to its original position. In an instant, the shiny halberd trembled violently and almost escaped from the Skirich young master's hand. This frightened the latter. What the F***CK was going on? This was his supreme treasure. Why was it trembling and trying to escape from his grasp? Soon, immortal Tao runes fell from the Skirich young master's palm and imprinted themselves on the halberd, suppressing the halberd's restlessness. However, this rebellion appeared and disappeared. In short, the Skirich young master found it hard to believe. Who was interfering with him? Who was scheming to seize his life treasure? Kill! Suddenly, Suyan charged over, his aura swallowing 100,000 li. He waved his fist covered in the heavenly beast glove. This punch was immeasurably powerful. Wang. The Skirich young master's silver armor revived on its own and opened up a starry space that contained the universe's great stars. Even so, Suyan's punch caused the starry space to explode. A terrifying aura rushed toward the Skirich young master. Heavens, look! The spectators in the distance were stunned. What was going on? The Tongtian young master, who wielded the halberd, was incredibly strong. Why didn't he swing his halberd now? In fact, he was in a passive position after being punched by Suyan. If it wasn't for the fact that his battle armor was strong enough to block Suyan's shocking punch, the Tongtian young master would have been heavily injured. Suyan's eyes turned red. This battle suit was truly peerless. There was nothing to say. He went berserk and smashed his fist toward the Grandmaster Skirich young master. Bastard! The Skirich young master's eyes were filled with anger. He was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. What was going on? Why did he lose control of the halberd? He was no longer in the mood to continue fighting. This was his most powerful supreme treasure, his most terrifying trump card. Nothing could go wrong. He had to find out what the reason was. Many people didn't know what to say, especially Yin Junhao's face. He wanted to curse at the top of his lungs. The Tongtian young master had fled. He ran away without looking back. He had to leave this place and figure out what had happened. Where do you think you're going? How could Suyan give up on the Tongtian young master? He chased after him and drew his red bow. One arrow after another danced between the heavens and the earth, causing the heavens and the earth to boil and the void to explode. Let's go. Stop fighting. At the same time, Zhu Yanghua and the others had ugly expressions. The Tongtian young master had fled, and they had lost a powerful ally. If they continued fighting, they wouldn't be able to gain any benefits. Just the primordial dragon horn that Long Daesong had was enough to greatly reduce their combat power. That's really a fantasy. Many people's voices trembled. Yin Junhao and the others had fled, and the Tongtian young master was also in a miserable state. He was being chased by Suyan. After fleeing for hundreds of thousands of miles, Suyan was still chasing after him. He didn't want to give up this great opportunity. Tongtian young master, stay and fight. Suyan let out an angry roar, and the sound waves were like the sea, rolling toward the young master of the Skirich sect. He also took out the silver dragon sword and slashed at the young master of the Skirich sect. The Tontian young master was still fleeing, and he didn't want to continue fighting. It wasn't that he was afraid of Su Yan, but that his killing weapon was unstable. He was worried that it would fly away. Otherwise, the losses would be too great. Young Devil King, just you wait. Give me a few days, and I'll come and kill you. The Tontian young master was sullen. He couldn't care less about losing face now. He activated his armor to block Su Yan's killing moves and suppressed the trembling halberd. Tontian young master, you won't live. Stay and fight, and I'll crush you with one hand. Su Yan chased after him and attacked continuously. He wanted to force the Tontian young master to fight with him. At the same time, Su Yan also wanted to slap himself. If he had known, he would have used the halberd at the critical moment. Unfortunately, it was too late now. The Tontian young master treated the supreme treasure as his second life and wouldn't allow anything to happen. In any case, Su Yan ran madly over the sea region in pursuit of the Tontian young master. This scene petrified everyone. Was this still the Tontian young master of the top three? After being chased by Su Yan for hundreds of thousands of kilometers, the sea region was in chaos. However, in the end, the Heavenspan Junior Master was unwilling to fight Su Yan head-on. What's going on? The Tontian young master is running away like a dog. Too many people were dumbfounded. This had overturned their thinking. Was the young Devil King so fierce? Gradually, Su Yan's primordial spirit became a little unstable. His heart trembled. His primordial spirit was extremely tired and was on the verge of collapse. He stopped the chase. Su Yan frowned. He knew very well that the Tontian young master was protected by the supreme battle armor. It would be difficult to kill him. If he stayed and fought to the death, there might be some hope. But if he wanted to escape, it would be difficult to keep him. Su Yan soon returned to the ancient golden ship covered in flames. Flame Sparrow was curious. Why was the Tontian young master in such a hurry to leave? This was no weakling. Although he was arrogant and despotic, he had the right to be arrogant. Su Yan told Flame Sparrow about the Aegiri tree. Before Flame Sparrow could speak, Fan Jian whispered, "Big brother, that's not the Aegiri tree. That's the immortal weapon tree. The immortal weapon tree of the 10 strongest treasured trees." Su Yan's expression changed. This thing was actually in the hands of the Tongtian old man. Legend has it that the immortal weapon tree can steal the essence of a universe and nurture a heavenly weapon. Flame Sparrow revealed a secret. It is said that the Tongtian old man's heavenly bridge was nurtured by the immortal weapon tree. This is the strongest treasure. Su Yan was moved. Then the halberd in the hands of the Tongtian young master was a weapon nurtured by the Xianhuang universe's origin energy. No wonder I can faintly grasp it. Su Yan took a deep breath. His expression was somewhat cold. 1,000,000 years ago, the Xianhuang universe suffered a great change. The Tongtian old man used the immortal weapon tree to steal the essence of a universe. It must have caused heavy damage to the Xianhuang universe. Su Yan, since you have the ability to grasp it, there's no need to be anxious. Flame Sparrow said, "You'll have to fight sooner or later. If you push too hard, the Tongtian young master might be able to see that it has something to do with you." Yes, the weapon nurtured by the immortal weapon tree has never been taken away by outsiders. Fan Jian nodded. It seems that this is the uniqueness of the Xianhuang universe. No wonder it was once the Heaven Domain world. I think the halberd used by the Tongtian young master is quite ridiculous. If it was really taken away, the Tongtian old man would not be able to sleep well. Suddenly, Su Yan's origin spirit felt like it was about to collapse. His body was somewhat unstable. "Big brother, what's wrong?" The Li was shocked. They knew that Su Yan's origin spirit was injured, but they didn't expect it to be so serious that it threatened his body. Originally, Su Yan's origin spirit was indeed stabilized under the nourishment of the divine water of heaven and earth. But after successive battles, he had suffered heavy losses and his origin spirit seemed to be in tatters. At this time, the vermilion bird solemnly took out a jade bottle and poured out a pill. This pill was extremely special. It was 3-colored and looked like a silkworm cocoon. Inside, there was a faint surge of terrifying soul energy. Life Soul Pill, Fan Jian exclaimed. This was a ninth-grade pill. It was extremely valuable and had miraculous effects on Zenith Firmament true immortals. It is indeed a life soul pill. Unfortunately, it is only at the third revolution. The Flame Sparrow felt that it was a pity. This pill was at its strongest at the ninth revolution. However, this only existed in legends. Every revolution of the life soul pill's effects would increase significantly. A third revolution was already very impressive. This was the secret medicine of the Yin Emperor organization. Ever since they knew that Su Yan's origin spirit was severely injured, the Flame Sparrow sent back news that the organization had taken out a third revolution life soul pill. Su Yan did not stand on ceremony and swallowed the third revolution life soul pill. In an instant, Su Yan's tattered origin spirit received astonishing nourishment. The pill was very special. It scattered a three-colored immortal radiance and enveloped Su Yan's origin spirit. Vaguely, Su Yan sensed an indescribable aura that seemed to trace back to his life source. This caused Su Yan's origin spirit to tremble in excitement. Su Yan was both surprised and delighted. What a terrifying pill! It was reshaping his soul source and strengthening his origin spirit. Your Yin Emperor organization even has such a thing. A third revolution is already very impressive. Fan Jian was envious and said, "This pill is enough for a peak true immortal's origin spirit to break through to the zenith heavenly realm." This pill can break through to the zenith heavenly realm? Yuan and the others were shocked and delighted. With the help of this pill, Su Yan's origin spirit could be healed and might even grow stronger. Of course. Fan Jian nodded and said, "This thing is too valuable. If it was auctioned in a super auction, it would probably be worth 3 to 400,000 gene of immortal Dao stones." Li was stunned. So expensive? Actually, this was the most conservative estimate. After all, this pill was related to breaking through to the zenith heavenly realm. No one would use immortal Dao stones to exchange for it. Gradually, Su Yan entered a state of cultivation. He sat cross-legged on the ancient ship with a solemn expression. His forehead was shining brightly, and his tattered origin spirit was being nourished. The terrifying sword wound started to be erased. One had to admit that this pill was very shocking. Li and the others stood guard, protecting Su Yan and preventing external enemies from invading. The ancient ship drifted on the sea region for an entire night, but there was still no end in sight. Yuan and the others sighed in admiration. How big was this sea? It was endlessly shocking. What was on the other side of the sea? What is that? That day, Fan Jian's heavenly eye opened, shooting out resplendent sword radiance. It was as if it had cut open a world of fog, peering into a huge island. The island's atmosphere was grand, as if an archaic immortal island was lying before their eyes. It was a little blurry, a little mysterious, but it was also very shocking. The island released millions of auspicious multicolored lights. Moreover, there were immortal palaces on the island that scattered down boundless ascension light. Immortal Island? Li was shocked. He cried out in surprise. Immortal Island on the sea. This can't be the place of good fortune for treasures, right? It might very well be the origin of the sea region orthodoxy's life. The Flame Sparrow was pleasantly surprised. Let's hurry over. We might have a great harvest. The mysterious island had millions of strands of auspicious multicolored lights, surging with divine radiance. Immortal palaces were located on the island, and the sound of scriptures could be faintly heard. Su Yan was also awakened. His eyes suddenly opened. After a night of recuperation, his essence, energy, and spirit were powerful and flourishing. The light of his origin spirit scattered down, stimulating Su Yan's physical body to surge with terrifying battle prowess once again. He grinned. The injury to his origin spirit had finally been resolved. This is? Then, Su Yan was astonished. Under the observation of the Eye of Heaven Escape, a gigantic figure was vaguely entrenched at the peak of the island. It was boundlessly vast and filled the entire sea region. It revealed an ancient desolation, like the ancestor of all gods. He was like a sun-holy emperor, just too shocking. Chapter 1593. Su Yin was dazzled. He had actually caught sight of a figure that was immortal and immortal. He was like the holy emperor of heaven and earth. His divine might was boundless as he occupied the space between heaven and earth. The entire universe was beneath his feet. Su Yin, how are your injuries? Yi Yuan's words awakened Su Yin. Soon, he realized that the figure that was spying on him had disappeared as if it had never been there. Su Yin was puzzled. At the same time, he replied, I'm fine now. This pill is amazing. It has strengthened my primordial spirit. That's good. Yi Yuan heaved a sigh of relief. Su Yin's aura was indeed stronger and more domineering than before. Su Yin, who was at the peak of third-level true immortal, had extraordinary combat strength. He was now the strongest overlord in the Emperor Road battlefield. He had forced Jin Yangyun to lower his head and killed the vermilion bird with a single punch. These two incidents alone had caused a huge commotion in the treasure trove. I thought we were the only ones who had discovered the immortal island. Looks like there's going to be a fierce battle. At that moment, Yin Ke noticed that there were many ancient ships in the distant sea that were approaching the destination. There were many experts in the Emperor Road battlefield. Su Yin knew that what he had encountered was just the tip of the iceberg. Now, there were many experts gathered in the treasure trove. A large number of ancient ships were sailing towards the source. The news of the immortal island's appearance had spread throughout the sea. Even on the coastline, one could see the immortal island lying in the sea. Everyone felt that there was an amazing fortune on the island. The ancient ship that Yin Ke controlled was very impressive. It crossed the sea at an extremely fast speed. As it crossed the boundless sea, it looked at the magnificent waves on the sea. This sea is really scary. Su Yin gasped. They had crossed the sea at high speed for an entire day, but they still had not reached the destination. Could the island be at the end? Miserly Rooster muttered. I don't know how long it will take to cross the sea. What do you think the Baokai is? It can't swim there, right? Hearing this, Yi Yuan couldn't help but laugh. That's hard to say. When a Baokai was in the life spring stage, it could swim across the ocean and reach the western continent. Su Yin laughed heartily as he recalled some of the things that happened before. This made Fan Jian flabbergasted. What was the background of Baokai? According to Yi Yuan and the others, this was the second most powerful person in the black-yellow universe. He was quite ferocious. Another day passed. Su Yin frowned. Suddenly, he activated the heaven-opening writing brush. Su Yin, who was at the true immortal realm, unleashed the full power of the heaven-opening writing brush. Just as he was about to collapse from exhaustion, the heaven-opening writing brush finally surged with a trace of energy. It was a little terrifying and horrifying. Su Yin, who wielded the heaven-opening writing brush, seemed to be able to see through the entire ocean and see its true appearance. In just a breath's time, he didn't use the heaven-opening writing brush to open the golden ocean, but he saw it. The island was like an illusory substance that didn't exist in the space-time. It was as if it was located billions of years ago. Su Yan's face was pale, and he was too weak. He said in a low voice, Don't go. This is an illusion. It's not a real island. Big brother, are you seeing things? Fan Jin's expression was abnormal. They had crossed the ocean for a day and consumed a lot of divine power. Now, Su Yin was telling him that this immortal island was fake. Could it be a mirage? Yi Yuan was dumbfounded. He naturally knew about Su Yan's attainments in mystical arts. There wouldn't be any mistakes in his judgment. Su Yin smiled helplessly. Yi Yuan's words weren't impossible. In short, the immortal island didn't exist at all. No matter how fast they crossed the ocean, they couldn't travel to the space-time where the island was located. What Su Yin valued the most was how special this golden ocean was. Even after the heaven-opening writing brush had recovered for a breath's time, it still couldn't see through the golden ocean's true appearance. He wasn't strong enough. If his magic power was more vigorous and powerful, he should be able to see through the golden ocean's true nature. Don't be disappointed. Seeing Yin K and the others' listless expressions, Su Yin smiled mysteriously. This is a heaven-sent opportunity. We should be happy. What do you mean? Yin K was astonished. They had come here to look for treasures in Baokai. Now that the treasures they had just discovered were empty, they had to admit that they were quite disappointed. Su Yin flicked his sleeve and took out a 1,000-foot-long golden divine fish. The extreme yang fish lay horizontally on the board. Its entire body flowed with terrifying yang qi, and it was as resplendent as the sun. Extreme yang fish. Yuan paled. How could he forget that this was a 1,000-foot-long extreme yang fish? Heavens, how much essence of the sun and moon had it swallowed to grow to such a size? This was a peerless tonic. There was definitely a large number of extreme yang fish in the sea. As long as they spent time fishing and catching them, their harvest would be unimaginable. Yin K, what's wrong? Su Yin noticed that there was something wrong with Yin K's expression. Only when Su Yin asked her did she react. She pointed at the extreme yang fish and stammered, This is a yang fish, a yang fish. Impossible, Fan Jian retorted. He stood up and roared. The legendary yang fish, an extinct creature. How could it appear here? If it really is a yang fish, how could a true immortal suppress it? Fan Jian's eyes were bloodshot. The yang fish had a great effect, which was to extend one's lifespan. It was rumored that this thing could bring the dead back to life. It was related to the mysterious cycle of reincarnation. The yang fish only existed in legends. The world's understanding of it was limited. In short, this species was very noble and special. It contained a vast amount of yang qi, which was very beneficial to the human body. It was a miracle medicine. No, this is definitely not a real yang fish. Yin K said, This should be a yang fish fry. I say, how can a fry be this big? Miser Rooster's face was full of disbelief. This fish was too big. How could it be a fry? You don't know how terrifying the yang fish is. How could we catch the legendary yang fish? Yin K said, It is very difficult to give birth to a real yang fish. I don't know what kind of harsh conditions are required. In short, this creature has been extinct for a long time. I have only seen it in ancient books. Right? Fan Jian nodded and said, The yang fish has another name. It is called the reincarnation fish. Su Yin was shocked. He did not think that this thing had such a great origin. He and Yi Yuan looked at each other, and both of them frowned. There was a yang fish in the yin-yang path, and another type was called the yin fish. These were all reincarnation fish. Su Yin felt that this thing had great implications. Although he could not figure out what it was, they had really encountered a great opportunity. Every yang fish contained a huge amount of yang qi essence. It could strengthen a person's physical body and extend their lifespan. This thing was very important to the older generation. Stew it. Fan Jian was somewhat impatient. He took out a fire cauldron and said excitedly, Mother of Asterisker, there are many monsters in the sea. Let's take advantage of this period of time and crazily catch yang fish. This harvest will scare people to death. Su Yin also grinned. This was a great opportunity. They must seize it. This is too wasteful. Yin K took out a Dan recipe and handed it to Su Yin. Su Yin was shocked after looking at it. Yin K said, The Flame Emperor organization has a large collection of ancient recipes. They are all treasures of the Celestial Court. They even have the recipe for the evolution liquid. The immortal body liquid is a series of precious liquids. Although it is inferior to the life essence evolution liquid, it is still very hard to find. This Dan recipe recorded a series of methods to refine the immortal body liquid. One of the recipes used yang fish seedlings as the main ingredient and some other natural treasures to refine the immortal body liquid that had miraculous effects on the physical body. The immortal body liquid was the same as the life essence evolution liquid. The higher the quality, the rarer the ingredients. Of course, the most important ingredient was the yang fish seedlings. The other ingredients were not that hard to find. Su Yin was relieved. They had many good things on them. It was not difficult to fiddle with the 6th and 7th grade ingredients. They did not hesitate and took out many good things to use as ingredients. More than 20 ingredients, and the young fish seedlings were all thrown into the cauldron. I will refine the immortal body liquid. Yen-Kei said, "Time. We are not waiting for anyone. You guys go and catch the young fish seedlings." Su Yin and the others split up. They would not be able to wait for the young fish seedlings to take the bait. They had to use themselves as bait to lure the young fish seedlings out. 10 days passed. Su Yin and the others had captured 3 young fish seedlings. The harvest was great. There were not many young fish in the sea. The ancient ship had already left this part of the sea to search for the next one. "It smells so good." Long Xiao Xiao, whose silver hair reached her waist, swallowed her saliva. Her big eyes shone as she looked inside the cauldron at the rising immortal mist and medicinal fragrance. Inside the cauldron, the immortal body elixir had been refined for 10 days. Terrifying essence qi surged and rippled, tearing apart the void. One could imagine just how shocking the immortal body elixir was. There were drops of sparkling and translucent liquid inside, flowing with brilliant colors. Each drop contained immortal divine energy and exuded the essence of yang qi. Just smelling it would make one full of energy. 3 days later, the inside of the cauldron was filled with clouds and rosy clouds. Immortal light shot out in all directions. The liquid inside the cauldron emitted a majestic aura of life. 6th grade immortal body liquid, and there's a lot of it. It's enough for all of us to use to nourish our bodies. Yen-Kei was pleasantly surprised. She divided the liquid and refined it together. Su Yin swallowed more than 100 drops. His entire body rumbled as he received a terrifying nourishment. He felt that his blood and qi were changing, undergoing some kind of transformation. This made Su Yin even more astonished. He felt as if he had turned into a sun, emitting a blazing radiance that could refine all evil. It was a very special transformation. He could not describe in detail, but the blood and qi in his body became denser, and his body became stronger and sturdier. Yi Yuan and the others were also shocked. Their battle prowess had increased by a lot, and their bodies had undergone a great transformation. This is the immortal body liquid, refined using young fish seedlings as the main ingredient. It's only at the 6th grade, but it already has such an effect. Fan Jian was shocked. As expected of the legendary immortal body liquid, he did not expect the Flame Emperor organization to have such a set of formulas. "Let's split up." Su Yan's eyes flashed with fanaticism. This was a great opportunity, and he must seize it. Su Yan brought De Li to catch young fish, while Yi Yuan and Fan Jian left the treasure trove and went to the outside world to buy supplementary ingredients. They bought as much as they could and did not reject any. There were many rare heavenly treasures in the 10,000 races battlefield. As long as one had enough money, they could buy anything. Fan Jian was a ruthless person. He sold a large amount of treasures on him. To him, a sword was enough. He could give up everything else as long as it could increase his strength in a short period of time. After a month, they returned. When they saw Su Yin and the others harvest, they were shocked. They caught a total of 30 young fish seedlings. Yen-Kei was also pleasantly surprised. The ingredients they brought back were enough to refine dozens of furnaces. Of course, they wanted to refine even higher grade immortal body liquid. "Let's begin." Su Yin and the others were in full swing. They crossed various sea regions to catch young fish. Young fish were limited, and the more they caught, the rarer they became. They believed that once the news of the young fish seedlings spread, it would cause a terrifying earthquake. At that time, the Golden Oceanic region would attract countless experts to fight for supremacy. Yen-Kei was sure that once this news spread, the sect masters of various immortal sects would be jealous. Neo Daesong blew on the immemorial dragon horn all day long. The young fish trembled and only rolled its eyes. It was easier for them to catch them. 3,000 feet of young fish. De Li, go and gather the others. Quick! Su Yin was injured. His body was trembling. He grabbed a fish's tail with both hands and cried out in shock. It was a huge and shocking fish. Yang Qi rose and was terrifying beyond compare. It might even be able to refine rank. 8. Immortal body liquid. Suyin was no match for it. He gathered a group of experts and spent half a day to suppress the young fish seedlings. They were all injured. Each of them smiled excitedly. Chapter 1594. Time flew by. Half a year passed in the blink of an eye. In the boundless sea region, there was no end in sight. No end in sight. It was vast and boundless, grand to the point where it made one feel suffocated, even despair. Large numbers of experts crossed the sea, chasing after the immortal islands on the sea. They wanted to obtain great fortune, but half a year passed. Everyone was in despair. It was like a boundless sea. They would never be able to reach the other shore. In the boundless sea region, there was no end to be found, no natural luck or opportunity to be found. Many people felt despair. Could it be that there really wasn't anything good left behind? However, there were some who didn't believe this, frantically crossing. With such a large ancient world, how could there not be any opportunities? Otherwise, how could the Xian people's number one supreme being explain why he disappeared for such a long time, as if he vanished from this world? Even the immortals were searching for him all over the world. Unfortunately, he had disappeared and they couldn't find him no matter how hard they tried. Great structure, great background, there will definitely be great natural luck and opportunities, definitely. Wondrous Heaven's holy child's mentality was unstable. Half a year passed, yet he still couldn't reach the immortal islands. He believed that he wouldn't be able to cross over in this lifetime, that there was a great problem with the Golden Sea. However, this problem wasn't something they could pry into. Even if Su Yin grasped the heaven-opening brush, he still found it difficult to pry into the Golden Sea region's original appearance. It was difficult to imagine just how grand the Golden Sea region was. However, if this was the case, Wondrous Heaven's holy child felt more and more that the sea region was unordinary, that there were heaven-defying opportunities. If they could be unearthed, then it would be extremely terrifying. The powerful Kuan Peng ancient corpse was even buried in the sea region. This inheritance was definitely terrifying beyond compare in the distant past. Crossing the sea is difficult, but returning is easy. Why is this? What kind of structure is this? This is too torturous. I seriously suspect that the number one supreme being obtained all of the great natural luck, secretly obtaining great wealth. Someone spoke like this, preparing to give up and cross the sea. They thought that it would take half a year to cross to the shore, but in the end, time passed quickly. It had to be said that the Golden Sea was like a terrifying great whirlpool. All creatures fell into despair. There were some who felt that the natural luck here was something only great immortal realm experts had the qualifications to explore. In a certain sea region, an ancient ship that was suffused with divine light crossed the sea, drifting aimlessly. Above the ancient ship was a world-shocking great formation protecting it. No clues could be seen from the inside, but the scene inside was extremely world-shocking. A green pill furnace glowed and was suffused with the aura of a golden immortal. The interior of the furnace was like a flourishing age of the immortal Tao, and it emanated auspicious light and medicinal fragrance. Liang Yan sat cross-legged in front of the cauldron. Both of her hands formed a series of hand seals and entered the cauldron, causing the treasured liquid in the cauldron to boil. Vast amounts of yang energy surged, and there were even 4 Daesong beasts circling around the cauldron. It seems to be refining the essence of life, evolution fluid. The celestial body fluid is quite extraordinary. A 7th grade one is really heaven-defying. It's almost time to open the furnace. It's been nearly a month. On the ancient ship, Tai Gongji's group was discussing excitedly. Their blood and chi surged like blazing suns. Their foundations were quite powerful and shocking. After a day and a night, the pill furnace trembled violently, and the mouth of the furnace glowed. Success. The flame sparrow was pleasantly surprised. After more than a month, it had finally refined a 7th grade immortal body liquid. This kind of immortal body liquid was already extremely difficult to refine. It required the help of an alchemist. Buzz. A cauldron of golden liquid appeared. Every drop was sparkling and translucent, blossoming with divine radiance. Moreover, it was as if it had a life of its own, automatically releasing heaven and earth essence energy. The vitality that leaked out made one's heart tremble. The terrifying yang energy also made one feel as if they had fallen into a furnace to be burned. Liang Yan was so tired that she was dripping with fragrant sweat. She was similarly pleasantly surprised. A seventh-grade immortal body liquid was already extremely powerful. It was extremely helpful for true immortals. Da Li and the others divided the immortal body liquid and entered seclusion to refine it. Similarly, Liang Yan rested for a bit before starting the second cauldron of refining. What a fine seventh-grade immortal body liquid. Bathed in the golden liquid, Su Yan's entire body was trembling. This thing was truly too frightening. It stimulated Su Yan's body to revive on its own. It was as if there was another layer of life breathing. It was too shocking. Day after day, a sea of yang energy nourished the flesh shell. 3 days and 3 nights later, the entire ancient ship trembled violently. It was as if a giant furnace had been born, burning until the void exploded. A powerful aura covered the sky and earth. It was as if a tide was sweeping about wantonly. Su Yan had broken through to the 5th heaven of the true immortal realm. The transcendence energy in his body was extremely powerful. His flesh shell was also ridiculously like a heavenly treasure that could suppress the universe. This freak has broken through to the 5th heaven of the true immortal realm. Miserly Rooster exclaimed. He had stepped into the 3rd heaven of the true immortal realm. Even Da Li and the others were improving at a godly speed. They were infinitely close to the 4th heaven of the true immortal realm. In half a year, they had refined more than a dozen cauldrons of the 6th-grade immortal body liquid. Their changes were quite shocking. Each of their combat strength had increased tremendously, and they had become stronger at an insane rate. The harvest was too frightening. Even Yin Kei felt like she was dreaming. She patted her cheeks from time to time. She felt that even if she was dreaming, she could wake up with a smile. True immortal realm. If it was in the outside world, it would be considered fast for one to break through a minor realm in 10 years. However, in the Emperor Road, it was normal for one to break through a minor realm in a year. However, in half a year, Su Yan had broken through 2 major barriers. It was truly frightening. Of course, the most important thing was that the immortal body liquid had nourished them. Each of them were like dragons and tigers. Even Yin Kei, who was not good at physical strength, had her flesh shell strengthened by a lot. If this news were spread, it would scare a lot of people to death. Of course, it was fortunate that the Baokai did not clean up the fish bones that it ate. Otherwise, Su Yan would not have realized that the sea monsters in this sea were young fish seedlings in such a short time. Of course, the effects of the ancient recipe for the immortal body liquid could not be ignored. My realm is a little unstable. Su Yan's heart skipped a beat. His physical body was shocking. He was as powerful as an immortal true immortal. Once he unleashed his power, he could break through the sea region and shake the world. However, the increase in power was a little too fast. It caused Su Yan's realm to be a little unstable. However, it was not a big deal. After all, they were not powerhouses who had self-severed to recultivate. As of now, there were already peak true immortals in this sea region. These people had severed their own cultivation and used special methods to seal their Tao fruits. Now that they were absorbing and refining it, they could improve very quickly. However, this kind of improvement was also an old path. There would not be many achievements. However, all the major sects and orthodoxies were in urgent need of peak true immortal experts. After all, this realm was completely different. Report. 3 days later, a spy from Yin Emperor's organization came to report. On the 19th attempt, the 3 major sects and orthodoxies that attacked the ancient Kuan Peng corpse have failed. 3 peak true immortals have died. Their great Luo treasures have been destroyed. They have suffered heavy losses. This news was very shocking. Su Yin paid close attention to the ancient Kuan Peng corpse. He was getting more and more wary of the ancient corpse. This ancient corpse is too sick. Yuan knew that Su Yin was thinking about the ancient corpse. He frowned and said, "Three-peak true immortals have brought great Luo treasures and many other backup plans, but they still failed. Continue to investigate." Yin Ke waved his hand and asked the spy to leave. He then said to Su Yin, "Our plan is almost ready." Su Yin nodded and said, "Let's hurry up. It has been half a year. We can't keep the young fish for long. We have to salvage it as soon as possible. Let's go." Fan Jian was very excited. His improvement in this half a year was shocking. He took out the Sky He Gem and Sword replica and led to Li, Iron Rooster, and Tinser out of the ancient ship to search for traces of the young fish. Su Yin left with Long Day Song. As for the ancient ship, it needed someone to protect it. In half a year, Su Yin crazily caught young fish all over the place. His harvest was shocking. If this news spread out, all the orthodoxies would go crazy. He caught 3 young fish that weighed 3,000 jin. The total harvest was more than 130 fish. Of course, the number of young fish decreased. It took a few days to find one. 10 days later, good news came. Su Yin was very happy. He took out a complete rank 6 immortal body liquid and gave it to Dan Yangshu. Dan Yangshu was very generous. He was now the saint's son of Danzong. Su Yin and the others were refining medicine all day long. They were lacking a lot of ingredients. Su Yin thought of Dan Yangshu, the saint's son of Danzong. Looks like this Dan Yangshu has a lot of authority in Danzong. The only ones who can gather so many ingredients in such a short time must be from Danzong. Yin Ke laughed. Su Yin only promised to give Dan Yangshu a big gift in the future. This was an empty promise. Su Yin didn't expect Dan Yangshu to really agree. Thousands of precious ingredients were sent over. Along the way, Yin Emperor arranged 10 top experts to escort them. Along the way, Dali had personally brought people to escort them across the sea to this place. This was a huge amount of wealth. It was more than 1,000,000 jin of immortal Dao stones. Now, Su Yin and the others didn't need the rank 6 immortal body liquid. However, this immortal body liquid was very important to the 500 Knights. Another half a month passed. News began to spread like a hurricane, engulfing the boundless sea region and triggering a terrifying earthquake. This storm was too violent and spectacular. Young fish, the whole world was in chaos. The entire sea region was about to explode. The outside world was in an uproar. The old antiques of various sects were so jealous that they almost jumped up. They gave the highest order to catch young fish seedlings at all costs. This was an amazing tonic that could extend one's lifespan. It was said that it could allow one to live another life. It was too valuable for experts who were exhausted. It could be said that the matter of young fish seedlings made all the immortal sects go crazy. Although Su Yin and the others caught a lot of young fish in the sea region, they could only find one every 5 to 6 days. However, the entire sea region was in chaos. With so many experts involved, the matter of young fish seedlings became more and more frightening. It caused a huge bloodbath in the sea region. It caused a great storm. Even the vast sea was trembling from the battle. One could only imagine what level of bloodshed the battle had reached. More and more experts were involved in the Great War. Many cultivators were pounding their chests and stomping their feet. They wanted nothing more than to roar at the sky. They had discovered it half a year ago, but they didn't know what it was. Young fish seedlings weren't easy to catch. In short, they missed a great opportunity. It was too late for regrets. Although some people obtained them, they paid a heavy price. They were fighting with their lives on the line. Not only did they have to face the struggle of the young fish seedlings, but they also had to face the experts who were watching from all sides. Demon King, you're really something. Ha ha ha. Dan Yangshu laughed heartily. He had obtained a grade 6 immortal body liquid and 4 complete young fish. The value of these things couldn't be measured by immortal Dao stones. When the news reached Danzong, the whole of Danzong was in an uproar. Many old experts with 1 foot in the grave jumped out. Their eyes were red as they praised Ali and bestowed many treasures to him. Danyang's Shu's status in Danzong rose. He directly became the strongest generation and received the support of the older generation to Li. I seeing things? The entire sword sect was in an uproar. For the sake of young fish seedlings, they paid close attention to the sea region. In the end, Fan Jian gave them 8 young fish. This was a bit shocking. He even named 2 of them and gave them to Sword Dragon. It's the young Demon King. The Sword Sect master understood. It was definitely him. The group of old men in Sword Sect picked their ears. Fan Jian had been following the young Demon King all day. They didn't expect him to obtain such great benefits. At the same time, in the undying heavenly domain, a medium-sized merchant association announced a piece of news. It swept through the undying heavenly domain like a hurricane. Big news. The Dream Dao auction will hold an auction 3 days later. They'll auction 10 young fish seedlings. This news was somewhat outrageous. Many people thought they had heard wrongly. It was said that even the immortals had only harvested 2 or 3 of the 10 young fish in the past month. Who would be so generous to bid for 10 young fish? In short, this matter was of great importance. The entire undying heavenly domain was in an uproar. Some old experts with dried-up blood wanted the young fish seedlings too much. Some experts from the flourishing orthodoxies had ugly expressions. Who could be so fast? Could it be that they had encountered a school of young fish seedlings? Some of the old experts from the orthodoxies also gave the order to buy 2 or 3 young fish. They smiled wryly. Wasn't it too easy to say that? These things could prolong the life of those old experts. They wouldn't easily buy them. It's time to move. At the same time, Suyin didn't plan to continue fishing for young fish seedlings. There were too many people involved. The Golden Waters was like a bloody battlefield. Too many people had died. He wouldn't be able to get many young fish even if he continued to fight. At this moment, Su Yin was ready to make a move on the ancient Kuan Peng corpse. Chapter 1595. The Dream Dao auction was established by a mid-level merchant alliance and had a certain reputation in the undying heavenly region. Today, the Dream Dao auction's reputation soared and was about to be ranked among the top auctions. Experts gathered, and even old antiques who had not appeared for a long time came in large batches. However, the auction's atmosphere was abnormally stifling, and there were frequent bursts of terrifying auras. Many true immortals trembled, as weak as ants. They were alarmed and felt that some big shots were about to make a move on the Dream Dao auction. The matter concerned the fry of young fish, and there were as many as 10 of them. There might really be a terrifying boss who would fight for them, and the entire auction's atmosphere was rather tense. It's true, someone was alarmed, as he sensed the aura of a supreme being faintly discernible in the Dream Dao auction, intimidating all the restless experts, clearly telling them that the Dream Dao auction was not to be trifled with. Without a doubt, the experts who wanted to make a move in the dark felt their hearts turn cold. The presence of a big shot was no small matter, and if they really made a move, they might die here. Since the other party dared to take out 10 fry of young fish for auction, it was enough to prove the strength of this auction. It's really fry of young fish, and it's not much different from the legends. At this moment, the entire auction was in an uproar. A 3,000 zhong long fry of young fish. Just the abundant yang qi it contained was enough to make the eyes of the old antiques turn red. They could feel their own dried blood and qi trembling as they yearned for the young fish too much. We must get it, many old antiques roared. This was their hope to prolong their lives, and the yang qi contained in the fry of young fish could restore their declining bodily functions. This was the most important thing. Start the auction. On the auction stage, one had to admit that a peerless beauty attracted everyone's attention. Many men were dazzled by her charms, and many women fell head over heels for her. Look, it's Miss Xioning. The auction's atmosphere instantly heated up, and everyone's gaze was fixed on the innately charming woman on the stage. Haha, such a heavyweight auction. Of course it's Miss Xioning. Zi Xioning was extremely charming. Every glance and smile of hers was enough to tug at one's heartstrings. Her enchanting figure rose and fell. She was tall yet voluptuous. She wore a fiery red chong sam, which made her even more enchanting. Her purple hair fell to her waist, adding to her allure. Her skin was snow white and translucent. Her long and narrow eyes were sparkling. Her enchanting smile and bright red lips were truly charming and natural. Her mature and charming face was filled with a confident smile. She thought to herself that if the experts from the various immortal sects knew who the owner of the young fish fry was, the auction would be over immediately. Those old fellows have really gone crazy. I didn't think that the thing Big Brother took out would cause such a terrible storm. Below the auction hall, a woman with skin of ice and bones of jade sat upright. Although it was difficult for her to be compared to Zi Xiaoning in terms of charm and allure, Su Bingshuang also had her own unique beauty. Her smile could cause the downfall of nations, and she was exceptionally beautiful. Su Bingshuang was overjoyed. Ever since she heard that Su Yan was still alive, she was overjoyed. Although the siblings had never met, Su Bingshuang prayed for Su Yan day and night, hoping that he would be safe and sound. She knew that Su Yan was now the demon king of a generation. He was an expert who dominated the Emperor Road. Su Yan's legendary Undying Heavenly Domain had been passed down in the Emperor Road. The current Undying Heavenly Domain was regarded as a young supreme being who had great hopes of entering the top 10 of the Emperor ranking. Although he had many powerful enemies, Bing Shuang believed that Su Yan would not be inferior to them in the future. 300,000 caddies of immortal Dao stones. Some old fellows shouted. Their hearts were beating wildly, and they were worried that they would not be able to buy a single one. This thing was too important to them. Su Yan and the others used it to nourish the body. A battle physique was a great treasure for old geezers at the end of their lifespan. It could prolong their lifespan, so what could be more important than this? Great, this is great. Ha ha. The hidden old men of the Yin Emperor organization were extremely excited. Dozens of old men were originally withered and did not have much lifespan left. However, because of the young fish seedlings, they were now powerful and full of vigor. They were all mighty old experts. From this, it could be seen that the value of the young fish seedlings was shocking. It had greatly increased the strength of the Yin Emperor organization. If Su Yan's harvest fell into the hands of the Xian people, then the entire Xian people would grow crazily. Groups of old experts who were about to die would climb out and fight for the world again. Therefore, the young fish seedlings were too valuable. The third young fish seedling is ready to be auctioned. Also, inform everyone that the first 5 young fish will be auctioned with immortal Dao stones. The last 5 will be auctioned with various rare treasures. Zi Xiaoning smiled, her limpid eyes rippling with joy. She felt that if the 10 young fish were sold, they would at least get a few million caddies of immortal Dao stones. They might even be able to exchange for 5 rare immortal treasures. Although Su Yan had obtained quite a number of young fish seedlings, it would not be a problem to take out a few dozen for auction. After all, the rarer an item was, the more valuable it was. Moreover, if they really took out a few dozen, there might really be immortal sects that would attack them. In the entire auction, the bidding for the 10 young fish seedlings lasted for 3 days and 3 nights. In the end, the bidding for the last few young fish seedlings caused the entire auction to break out into a fight. If it were not for the Supremes, the auction would not have been able to proceed. Close to 2 million caddies of immortal Dao stones and 5 rare treasures. 10 is already the limit. If there are more, I think the big shots will try to snatch the young fish seedlings. Most importantly, in these 3 days and 3 nights, the Dream Dao Business Alliance's trading volume has skyrocketed. It seems that in the near future, the Dream Dao Business Alliance will become a large business alliance in the Undying Heavenly Domain. Zi Xiaoning was overjoyed. She did not expect the young fish seedlings to be able to pull in so much business for the business alliance. A large number of immortal sects even wanted to cooperate with them and privately buy out all the young fish seedlings. In just half a day, they had spent more than 1 million immortal Dao stones to purchase various rare treasures and sent them to the Emperor Road battlefield. It's here. Su Yin wandered around the sea region where the ancient Kunping corpse was located for a few days and finally found the materials. Yenke wiped the cold sweat off her forehead. She did not know what to say about the rare treasures that cost more than 1,000,000 caddies of immortal Dao stones. She felt that Su Yin was a little crazy. Fan Jian's eyes widened. Who would dare to spend so much money? Su Yin was prepared to use more than 1,000,000 caddies of immortal Dao stones to obtain an unparalleled secret technique. If he succeeded, there was no need to talk about the rewards. However, if he failed, he would lose everything. However, Su Yin did not care. If he did not try, he would definitely regret it in the future. Now, he had the qualifications and capital to do so. The Devouring Sky Formation is one of the 10 most powerful ancient formations in the Infernal Emperor Organization's collection. However, this formation does not specialize in attacking. Why did you choose the Devouring Sky Formation? Yenke was a little surprised. Su Yin smiled mysteriously. You will know when the time comes. I have to go into seclusion for a few days. It was quite difficult to create the Devouring Sky Formation. Su Yin had to create the 3 pure ones first. Fortunately, he was now a level 5 true immortal. His magic power was astounding, and he could inscribe the Devouring Sky Formation without rest. Time flew. Every day, a large number of experts would die in the sea region. The matter of young fish seedlings had caused a frenzy in the world. The major immortal sects and orthodoxies all fought to the death. Too many experts had died in the battle. There were too many wolves and too little meat. Moreover, after Su Yin and the others hunted them on a large scale, the number of young fish seedlings was extremely limited. Every young fish seedling would cause a bloody disaster. The sea region was stained with blood. Everyone was hunting for the young fish seedlings. Instead, the ancient Kunping corpse was forgotten by the world. Heavens, a 2,000 zhong extreme yang fish. The sea region was filled with a bloody storm. This extreme yang fish was too abnormal. The experts who were hunting it were turned into bloody light by its tail. The sea region was in chaos. The young experts of various clans came here to kill. The vast sea region trembled. More and more experts were involved, and the casualties were heavy. I can't help but make a move. Fan Jian was itching to make a move. A 2,000 zhong extreme yang fish could be used to refine a Tier 7 immortal body liquid. A cauldron of Tier 7 immortal body liquid was enough for 10 people. Therefore, the value of these 2,000 zhong extreme yang fish seedlings was outrageous. If it was brought to the auction house, it would be sold for a shocking price. Even Su Yin and the others only obtained 22,000 zhong extreme yang fish seedlings. Of course, the 3,000 zhong extreme yang fish were the most important. They could be used to refine Tier 8 immortal body liquid. Don't make a move. Let's wait and see. Yuan said in a low voice. The temptation of this fish is too great. Who knows how many experts will die if we try to snatch it away? Fan Jian was very clear that if they tried to kill their way out, 1 or 2 of them would die. Just the experts on the top 10,000 list alone were coming. After killing for a day and a night, the sea region was filled with bloody light and the smell of blood was pungent. Dali was scared. Too many experts had died. Even the peak true immortals had died in battle. They had even used their great immortal treasures. They were all in a frenzy. Yuan's heart trembled. The scary young master had made a move. He held the snow-white halberd and snatched away the 2,000 zhong extreme yang fish. With the supreme killing weapon protecting him, very few people in the younger generation dared to fight against him. Fan Jian frowned. The scary young master had obtained a great fortune. His cultivation level would increase in a short period of time. The sea region was dyed red with blood. The storm was getting more and more intense. The number of extreme yang fish seedlings decreased as they caught more and more extreme yang fish. This was enough to drive people crazy. Some experts who were qualified to fight for the top 100 of the monarch list had died in battle. Half a month later, Su Yin had finished refining the Devouring Sky Formation. He was not in a hurry to make a move. He had been observing the storm above the sea region. Big Brother is out. 3 days later, Dali brought a piece of good news. A great battle broke out in the depths of the sea region. There are still 3,000 Zhang extreme young fish seedlings. Suyin was not surprised, nor was he jealous. He had already received news that the strongest cultivators from the major immortal sects had all rushed over to fight for it. The value of this item was quite outrageous. A 3,000 feet long fry of young fish would have a miraculous effect on the withered lifespan of the sect master. Human lives are like grass. I wonder how many experts will die in the battle. Suyin exclaimed. They had seized the opportunity and snatched the great fortune. There must be many fish that escaped the net. However, it would not be easy to fight for these fish that escaped the net. Even the most invincible person would have to pay a great price to snatch food from a pack of wolves. The death rate would be extremely high. During this time, more than a dozen of the strongest successors of the major sects had died in the sea region. One could imagine how cruel the competition would be. Then, Suyan's eyes were cold as he stared at the ancient Kunpeng corpse in the sea region. This was the strongest fortune that had been unearthed in the sea region so far. It could also be considered as one of the strongest fortunes that had been unearthed since the opening of the Emperor Road. Brothers, follow me. Let's go and harvest the great fortune. Suyan laughed. Fan Jian and the others were full of energy. They had been quiet for half a year. Now, they could finally fight a battle. Long Xiao also waved her little fist. The little girl with silver hair that reached her waist was beautiful. She naturally knew how important the Kunpeng superpower was. Chapter 1596. There were only a few ships on the boundless ocean's surface. Because of the ancient Kunpeng corpse, there were no young fish fry here. Ever since the last time several immortal sects joined hands to attack the ancient Kunpeng corpse, no one paid any attention to the most powerful treasure in this ocean region. Only a few people were paying attention to it. Today, a rolling, muffled thunder reverberated through the sky, rumbling and ringing. At first, it wasn't particularly intense, but as time went on, the noise became more and more intense. In the end, it formed a thunderous noise that shook this entire ocean region. Time and space trembled, the starry sky became dim, and the ocean region shook violently. What is that? Many people felt apprehensive. What kind of power was awakening? It affected the ocean region within a range of 1,000,000 li. The disturbance was too great, and it was boundless to the extreme. It seems like a great killing formation is activating. This killing formation is a bit excessive, and the range of its effects is too vast. What exactly is the other party trying to do? They were a bit apprehensive. A formation that affected 1,000,000 li of the ocean region was unimaginably powerful and vast. Moreover, it erupted so suddenly, without any prior signs. Look quickly. At this moment, the crowd was alarmed and cried out continuously. Resplendent radiance blossomed from the source. Millions and millions of symbols appeared, densely engraved in heaven and earth. The moment they burned fiercely, a vast aura rushed over, covering 1,000,000 li in an instant. In an instant, the entire ocean region was about to explode. Loud noises rang out continuously, shaking the souls of all experts. This was a massive project that covered 1,000,000 li. As it operated, the entire world gradually became gloomy, and even the starry sky became dim. What kind of power is this? The crowd was horrified. They discovered that the boundless spiritual essence in the boundless ocean region was surging, and then it began to converge towards the source. Heaven swallowing formation. Once this formation was formed, the amount of energy it released was world-shocking. It caused the ocean region to become gloomy, and the energy between heaven and earth was about to dry up. It was to the extent that many experts in this ocean region felt that the energy within their bodies was about to break out of their bodies. A loud noise rang out once again. The heavenly might was vast and mighty, suppressing all life in the universe. The heaven-swallowing formation was already burning to the extreme, devouring the energy from all over the world. This made the experts terrified. The energy within their bodies was being sucked away as they flew towards the source. What a terrifying array. This is the Devouring Heaven array. Even so, this is not the strongest Devouring Heaven array. Fan Jian was flabbergasted. At the source area, trillions of runes were arranged. Endless energy gathered within, forming a raging sea. It was terrifyingly heavy. They didn't know why Su Yan had gathered such a strong energy storm, but they were very clear that it was impossible to obtain the ancient Kuan Peng corpse without paying a huge price. Open! Su Yan let out a low roar. His hair danced in the wind, and his flesh burned. Yang Qi rose and dominated the sky. Celestial power flowed in his body, and the aura of a level 5 true celestial was fully awakened. His entire body emitted an aura like the sea. Boom, boom, boom. At the same time, Yuan, Dali, Iron Rooster, Flame Sparrow, Long Xiao Xiao, Fan Jian, Long Daesong, and Tensor, the 8 great powerhouses soared into the air. As they did, Su Yan released the strongest life aura of a human body. Boom! The auras of the 9 powerhouses merged into one, forming a tide of energy that collapsed the starry sky and caused the entire world to tremble. Who's making a move? The powerhouses in the distant world exclaimed. Within the peerless formation, the 9 powerhouses exploded in the sky, cutting off the entire space and time. The formation was quite shocking. Are they plotting to obtain the ancient Kuan Peng corpse? Many people's expressions changed. They retreated frantically and wanted to spread the news. They felt that the other party's formation was too big, and they might be able to take away the ancient Kuan Peng corpse. Although the major sects were helpless against the ancient Kuan Peng corpse, they didn't give up. Therefore, many powerhouses from the orthodoxies were entrenched in the surroundings, paying close attention to the ancient Kuan Peng corpse. Within the shocking formation, everything became blurry. The energy stored was too overbearing. Boom! From this moment on, the vast divine power contained within the devouring formation was about to be exhausted in a short period of time. 9-continent cauldron. Su Yan's expression was solemn. He waved his hand and threw out the 9-continents cauldron. Although it was still damaged, it was still one of the most powerful treasures of the ancient celestial court. When it was awakened, the cauldron enlarged and evolved into 9 stone carvings, as if there were 9 continents lying here. Damn! In an instant, Fan Jian and the others growled. The divine power in their bodies was about to be drained. What was Su Yan doing? He was unleashing the divine power of the 9 continents cauldron. With the devouring formation and the 9 powerhouses' magical power, he was reviving the 9 continents cauldron to a sufficiently powerful level. One should know that this was the most powerful treasure. Although it was damaged, the 9-continent cauldron was still the most powerful treasure in the undying celestial domain. Boom! The cauldron rotated and enlarged rapidly. It really turned into a heavenly cauldron that could smelt everything, carrying the blurry image of the 9 continents. At the same time, an unimaginable divine power was unleashed. It swept across the vast sea region, causing countless cultivators to tremble. Is this the most powerful treasure? Some people fell to the ground, trembling from the bottom of their hearts. No one could resist it. The divine power was so strong that even true immortals would be destroyed by it. What is this? They were on the verge of despair. The layout of this treasure trove was special. It was not suppressed by the Emperor Road's order. Everyone knew that in the Emperor Road, some of the most powerful weapons could not be revived. However, it was different here. As long as one had enough power, they could unleash a portion of the most powerful treasure's power. The vast sea region trembled. The surface of the sea was torn apart, and a huge crack appeared. It was an unbelievable scene. Even the powerhouses in the distant world were trembling in fear. They felt that something big had happened. A giant that had been in hibernation for a long time was awakened. It was becoming more and more shocking and domineering. Who is reviving the most powerful treasure? Some of the powerhouses from the major sects were terrified. They growled, "Is he crazy? Isn't he afraid of killing himself by summoning a treasure of this level?" The 9 continents cauldron was very powerful. Although Su Yan could activate it, if the Nine Continents Cauldron's revival was too strong, Su Yin would also be under great pressure. Arg! He growled in pain. His body was deformed. Blood was spurting out of his pores, and his hands were turning into a bloody mess. Su Yin had revived the humanoid puppet. Even so, Su Yin could not bear the full power of the Nine Continents Cauldron. Suppress it. Su Yan's eyes were wide open in anger. He pushed the Nine Continents Cauldron with his bloody hands and struck it toward the ancient Kunpeng corpse. First of all, the sea region had been melted into a huge black hole. Everything was destroyed by the Nine Continents Cauldron. Only the 100,000-foot-tall ancient corpse remained. It flowed with an unparalleled aura and emitted an inviolable radiance. Faced with the suppression of the Nine Continents Cauldron, the ancient Kunpeng corpse glowed on its own. This sleeping ancient god was reviving. The aura that leaked from the corpse collided with the suppression power of the Nine Continents Cauldron. Boom! The sky exploded. Huge cracks appeared one after another. It was impossible to count how many cracks there were. An unparalleled pressure surged out and swept across the vast sea region. It was as if an apocalyptic catastrophe was about to happen. Tens of thousands of souls were scared out of their wits. Their legs could not even move. They were terrified and felt that their souls were about to be extinguished. This was the most powerful treasure. It was too unbelievable. Be careful. Yin Ke and the others were anxious. Su Yan's condition was not good. His body was about to collapse. If Su Yan's combat power had not skyrocketed and his body had not been nourished by the immortal body liquid, he would not be able to withstand the Nine Continents Cauldron in this state. After all, if this thing was really used, it would probably suppress him to death. This ancient corpse seems to have moved, Fan Jian shouted. Originally, the Nine Continents Cauldron had concealed the aura of the ancient Kunpeng corpse. However, the ancient Kunpeng corpse's huge skeleton trembled slightly. An ancient and unparalleled wave flowed out and resisted the suppression of the Nine Continents Cauldron. Suppress! Su Yin shouted. His hair danced wildly and released the most invincible power. Boom! The ancient cauldron was like a sleeping giant that had awakened. During this process, the energy of the entire sky swallowing formation was instantly exhausted. Without a doubt, the Nine Continents Cauldron was even stronger. It seemed to have evolved into 9 continents that pressed down one after another to completely seal the ancient Kunpeng corpse. However, what shocked Su Yin was that the more he attacked, the stronger the aura of the ancient Kunpeng corpse became. What level did it cultivate to when it was alive? The 100,000 feet skeleton had an unparalleled aura. It was filled with a shocking pressure that blocked the 9 Continents Cauldron. What should I do? Su Yan's face was gloomy. He could not maintain the 9 Continents Cauldron for too long. If it really failed, he could only give up. However, he was unwilling. Things had already reached this stage. If he gave up, the loss would be too great. Currently, the sea region within a radius of 100,000 miles was as dark as ink. Its energy had been exhausted. Only those in the zenith heavenly realm could barely control this kind of treasure. It was too difficult for those in the true immortal realm. Even with the help of the sky swallowing formation, the energy required to unleash the strongest combat power of the 9 Continents Cauldron was an astronomical figure. Suppress! Su Yin roared. He gave his all and pushed the 9 Continents Cauldron with both hands. He wanted to try again and suppress the corpse into the cave. Boom! Suddenly, the 100,000 feet skeleton of the Kunpeng trembled even more violently. Its frontal bone was dazzling and terrifying. The unparalleled Kunpeng was about to be revived. Its aura was terrifying and destroyed everything. If it were not for the 9 Continents Cauldron, Su Yin and the others would have been killed mercilessly. Even more so, strands of extremely powerful essence, qi, leaked out from the skeleton. It was pure to the extreme and had started to penetrate the frontal bone. It was about to unleash the Kunpeng's secret art. Su Yin run. Yuan roared. He was having a headache. Once the Kunpeng's Abijna was revived, no one would be able to survive. It might even send the 9 Continents Cauldron flying. If such a thing happened, the entire sea region would be plunged into misery and suffering. This corpse. Fan Jian was scared. The Kuan-Peng's corpse had been dead for a long time. However, it still stored a mouthful of extremely powerful essence qi. It was divine and brilliant. Just a mouthful would be a great tonic. Just this mouthful of essence qi was already extremely spectacular. It was as if a universe had flown out. It was difficult to describe how powerful it was. This mouthful of essence qi is too vast, isn't it? The flame sparrow's skin and bones were cold. It was unknown how powerful the Kuan-Peng was when it was alive. Could it be an expert at the level of an ancestor? This mouthful of essence qi was like the ancient Kuan-Peng universe undulating. Boom! A shocking aura spread out. The nine continents cauldron trembled violently. Suyan's body was cracking. He felt as if his entire body was about to explode. Even the devouring heaven formation had some cracks. Most importantly, the essence qi in the skeleton continued to be rich. Inside, the Kuan-Peng divine path diagram on its frontal bone, a supreme being that looked down on all life in the universe was born. Its divine might was vast and powerful. It could easily tear the sky apart. Damn it. Let's go. Suyan was furious. He was not qualified to unleash the strongest nine continents cauldron. The current situation was extremely dangerous. If he delayed any longer, there would be great danger. Woo-woo. At this moment, Long Dae-sung suddenly rushed forward. Long Dae-sung, come back. Suyan's eyes widened. Once it lost the protection of a nine continents cauldron, Long Dae-sung would be reduced to ashes in an instant. However, Long Dae-sung ran quickly. It rushed toward the ancient Kuan-Peng corpse and opened its mouth. It wanted to swallow the essence qi it spat out. Chapter 1597. The sea region within 1,000,000 miles was as dark as ink, its energy depleted. The devouring sky formation was an ancient formation. As its name suggested, it could devour all forms of energy. Even the energy within a cultivator's body began to leak out uncontrollably. Only the energy gathered by the devouring sky formation could possibly activate the nine continents' heavenly cauldrons. Suyin knew very well that with his current strength, it was impossible for him to forge an ancient formation that could suppress the Kuan-Peng. Therefore, he chose to use the nine continents' heavenly cauldrons to suppress it. However, who would have thought that the Kuan-Peng would be so powerful that it could resist the most powerful ultimate treasure? Although the nine continents' heavenly cauldrons were damaged, it was still extremely difficult for it to unleash its most terrifying power. However, if even such a lineup could not subdue the ancient Kuan-Peng corpse, it was likely that no one would be able to obtain the most powerful creation unearthed in the Emperor Road. Dae-sung, come back quickly. Long Xiaoxiao was anxious. She stomped her feet, and her big eyes started to turn red. The ancient Kuan-Peng corpse was too powerful. Once Long Dae-sung charged towards the ancient Kuan-Peng corpse, its entire body would probably explode before it could even get close. Suyin was also shocked. He did not expect Long Dae-sung to suddenly charge towards it. He gritted his teeth and prepared to use the nine continents' heavenly cauldrons again. However, Suyin was shocked. Long Dae-sung was a 10 transformations true dragon. Perhaps it had some way to suppress the ancient Kuan-Peng corpse. Suyin did not dare to be careless. He desperately gathered the remaining energy in his body and spat out mouthfuls of blood essence to maintain the nine continents' heavenly cauldrons. The aura from the nine continents' heavenly cauldrons was getting more and more terrifying. It was as if an ancient emperor was awakening from his slumber. It could easily evaporate the boundless sea region and unleash its strongest attack at any time. They believed that with the protection of this ultimate treasure, they could leave this place alive. What's going on? Fan Jian was shocked. Long Dae-sung had charged over. Its golden flesh shell was very powerful, densely covered with golden scales and golden horns on its forehead. This was a giant golden beast, but he could not tell what species it was. In short, Long Dae-sung's strength was undeniable. Under the nourishment of the celestial body elixir, His weakened state had already passed, and his cultivation had also stepped into the second heavenly layer of the true immortal stage. Faced with the threat of the ancient Kuan Peng corpse, the black and white Tao diagram on the Dragon Grand Sage's forehead shone with a brilliant light. The divine aura that came down from the ancient times seemed like it was going to come crashing down along the river of time. Su Yin felt a terrifying pressure. He was shocked. Could this be the remnant energy of the 10 transformations true dragon? It appeared on the Yin-Yang Dao diagram. In other words, this was a unique skill derived from the 10th transformation of the true dragon. The resurrected Long Day Song was like an invincible sacred beast. His mouth and nose spewed out yin and yang qi, forcibly resisting the terrifying pressure of the ancient Kuan Peng corpse. Heavens, what kind of creature is the Long Day Song? Could it be a higher level than the Kuan Peng? What kind of bloodline does it have? The flame sparrow's face turned pale. The ancient Kuan Peng corpse had already fallen, but it was born with an unparalleled heavenly aura. Ordinary people could not get close to it, not to mention that it still had a breath of extremely pure vitality. But now, the pressure of the ancient Kuan Peng corpse had lost its effect on Long Day Song. It seemed like Long Day Song's life bloodline had surpassed the Kuan Peng's. Long Day Song growled at the Kuan Peng corpse. It was not afraid. It opened its mouth and swallowed the powerful essence qi that leaked out of the Kuan Peng. Fan Jian and the rest were stunned. It was snatching food from the tiger's mouth. It could even swallow the Kuan Peng's essence qi. Roar! Long Day Song appeared very ferocious. It felt that this energy was of great help to it. The extremely pure essence qi emitted an extremely powerful and domineering energy wave. It was as deep and majestic as the universe. It explained how powerful it was. It was hard to imagine how powerful the Kuan Peng was when it was alive. A breath of essence qi was already unimaginably majestic. Long Day Song swallowed the most powerful essence qi, and some of it was indeed taken away by it. This was impressive. The ancient Kuan Peng corpse went berserk. A boundless and terrifying aura rushed over. It was like the laws of order. The Jiuzhou Heaven Cauldron was shaking. Steady. Su Yin opened his eyes wide. As long as Long Day Song could take away the essence qi, the Kuan Peng's power would be greatly reduced. Then, it would be time for them to seize the treasure. The incomplete sky swallowing formation burned and swallowed the energy of the vast sea. At the same time, Yuan and the rest burned their bodies to force out more energy to maintain the confrontation between the Jiuzhou Heaven Cauldron and the Kuan Peng's aura. Let's do it, they shouted. As long as Long Day Song was given enough time, they would succeed. The Kuan Peng's divine ability was an unparalleled secret art. As long as they could obtain it, paying a price was nothing. They all went crazy. They took out a large number of elixirs and swallowed them to provide more energy. Boom! In the end, this confrontation took place. The golden starry sky collapsed. An incomparably terrifying aura swept across the vast sea. It was so powerful that the suns were about to fall down. Countless creatures trembled. They were crushed by the vast aura that surged from the source. Who was it that revived this terrifying weapon? Who could unleash the divine might of this weapon? And who was plotting against the ancient Kuan Peng corpse? This matter was too big. Moreover, the other party must have been plotting for a long time to seize it at this juncture. Some experts of the great sects tried to send messages, but it was too difficult. The vast sea was suppressed by the Jiuzhou Heaven Cauldron's power. It was difficult for the experts to walk, let alone send messages. Roar, roar, roar. In the direction of the source, under the incomplete sky swallowing formation, Su Yin and the rest kept pouring out essence qi from their heads to maintain the operation of the Jiuzhou Heaven Cauldron. At the same time, the Long Day Song roared continuously and crazily absorbed the Kuan Peng's essence qi. Its body was bloated and was about to explode. Su Yin was nervous. He was worried that the Long Day Song wouldn't be able to swallow it. However, at this moment, The natural black and white Tao diagram emitted a supreme suppression. It forcibly suppressed the Kuan Peng's essence qi that was trembling wildly in the Long Daesong's body. Roar! The Long Daesong roared continuously. It seemed to be in great pain. Its body was beginning to crack. The supreme Kuan Peng essence qi contained energy that ordinary people couldn't enjoy. A small amount of essence qi contained a supreme aura. This was the power of the Kuan Peng. The Long Daesong's body cracked and cracked. Its flesh was dyed red as if it was dying. Daesong, Long Xiaoxiao screamed. The little girl's silver hair reached her waist. Her eyes were red. Don't worry. The flame sparrow was pleasantly surprised. The Long Daesong is transforming. To be more precise, it's changing its blood. This is the Kuan Peng's supreme essence qi. It's like a divine tonic. No, it's changing its bones now. In short, Fan Jian's eyes were red. The Long Daesong was changing its body. The surging Kuan Peng essence qi continuously cleansed the Long Daesong's body. The blood it excreted was waste blood, and the flesh shell created new essence qi. It was exuberant beyond compare. It was hard to imagine how powerful the Kuan Peng's essence qi was. During this half a year, they had tempered their bodies with the immortal body elixir. Although they were also changing their bodies, the effects weren't so heaven-defying. It could only be said to be a small transformation. However, the Long Daesong was changing its bones and blood. Its entire body's golden scales had fallen off. The newly grown scales were powerful and intimidating. It was as if it was wearing an indestructible golden armor. It was absolutely astonishing. After a short period of brilliance, the Long Daesong had completely transformed. It was as if the wind and rain had transformed into a dragon. Its roar was even more intense than that of a true dragon. It was like the roar of a dragon king. It even broke through several small realms of the true immortal realm. Dali and the others stared in envy. This fortune was just too great. Moreover, this mouthful of Kuan Peng's essence qi didn't consume much. They didn't know what the Long Daesong would become after completely absorbing it. Its greatest potential was still activated in the end. It was as if sacred gates were opening one after another within its flesh shell. The supreme heavenly might was revealed. 9 great demonic gates opened one after another. They corresponded to 9 supreme existences. Honglong, the splendor of the years scattered down. One could vaguely see a majestic azure dragon. It transformed 9 times in succession and crossed the 9 Daesong gates. The supreme splendor blossomed and filled the long river of time. The most powerful fluctuations from the ancient times curled up. Everything seemed terrifying and indistinct. Dense mists rolled, and Tao diagrams appeared. It was impossible to see what was real and what was fake. However, the fluctuations surging out became more and more boundless. The mouthful of Kuan Peng's essence, qi, seemed to be activating its innate ability. It was activating the most powerful trump card of the 10 transformations, True Dragon. It was evolving towards the 10 transformations level. What is that? Is that an unrivaled secret technique? It looks like a dragon. Is the Long Daesong the true dragon's reincarnation? Yuan was endlessly astonished. The Long Daesong's aura was too astonishing. A divine diagram of the great Tao appeared behind it and suppressed the Kuan Peng's ancient corpse until it was trembling. The 100,000 Zhang Long corpse seemed extremely dim. At this moment, they were very curious about the Long Daesong's origins. It was like a supreme expert's reincarnation. Vaguely, the boundless light of reincarnation blossomed and illuminated a huge azure dragon that crossed the 9 great heavenly gates. A very terrifying sacred gate's essence. Is the Long Daesong's strongest era about to arrive? Su Yan murmured. 9 transformations occurred consecutively. The final 10th transformation was grand and ancient. A terrifying vitality was faintly discernible. Roar! At the final moment, an indistinct azure dragon drilled out from the Long Daesong's flesh shell and swallowed all of the Kuan Peng's essence qi in one gulp. All the strange phenomena also came to an end. The long day Song gradually fell into a deep sleep. Its entire body was enveloped by the yin-yang essence qi. It was like two dragons of life and death lying on the long day Song's body. It was sleeping soundly. Its heart was rumbling like a thunder drum, intimidating everyone. Su Yin raised his big hand and brought the long day Song to his side. It was in a deep sleep. During the process, it was digesting the Kuan Peng's essence qi. It was unknown how powerful it would be when it came out of seclusion. Su Yin heaved a sigh of relief. Immediately after, his scorching eyes stared at the corpse that was 100,000 feet long. The pressure it emitted had also decreased substantially. The Kuan Peng's corpse was a little dim. Only the innate precious bone on its forehead was flowing with an unrivaled aura. Finally, it's a success. Su Yin suddenly clenched his fists. His emotions were surging. Immediately after, he took out the Jojo Heaven Cauldron and suppressed the Kuan Peng's corpse. Immediately after, the mouth of the cauldron enlarged. It was like a deep abyss and swallowed the Kuan Peng's corpse. The 100,000 feet long corpse was incomparably huge. Its skeleton was preserved extremely well. Even though it was sealed by the Jojo Heaven Cauldron, it still emitted a shocking aura. One couldn't help but admit that it was too shocking. Chapter 1598. The sea region within a radius of 1,000,000 miles was pitch black, and the destructive aura was still lingering in the air. The 9 continents' heavenly cauldron's divine aura had affected the sea region greatly. The shocking changes that had occurred here had also alarmed the experts of the distant worlds. They quickly rushed over, but in the face of this pitch-black sea region, they did not dare to explore it. Half a day later, the pitch-black sea region regained some clarity. Gradually, many bold experts ventured into the sea region to investigate what happened. When they arrived at their destination and saw the source, they were all dumbfounded. The ancient Kuan Peng corpse that had been attacked by various major immortal sects had disappeared. They could not believe their eyes. Who was the one who did this? Who took the ancient Kuan Peng corpse away without any warning? The ancient Kuan Peng corpse has been stolen, someone said in a trembling voice. Wasn't this too ridiculous? How long had it been? And such a huge, ancient Kuan Peng corpse was taken away. Before this, all the major immortal sects had attacked the ancient Kuan Peng corpse one after another, but all of them failed. Now that the ancient Kuan Peng corpse had disappeared, it was a huge matter. This incident was like a huge flood that swept across the vast sea region, causing a huge uproar. It was known as one of the strongest creations in the Emperor Road. However, when the young experts from various sects were fighting for the 3,000 feet young fish seedlings, a mysterious force took action and took the ancient Kuan Peng corpse away with a terrifying treasure. This incident would definitely shake the entire undying heavenly domain. Su Yin and the others had left long ago. They could not stay for a moment longer. The ancient ship sailed on the Golden Sea and gradually moved away. We did it! Yin Kei and the others cheered in joy. Their pale faces were filled with joy. They still could not believe that the ancient Kuan Peng corpse had fallen into their hands. Although there were some accidents, the rewards were great. Long Day Song was nourished by the Kuan Peng's vital energy and fell into a deep slumber. Most importantly, the ancient Kuan Peng corpse was not damaged at all during the battle. Even without the Kuan Peng's strongest secret skill, the 100,000 feet huge corpse alone was already a ridiculous price. This thing could be forged into a super powerful weapon and passed down as a legendary treasure. Hee, Su Yin grinned. He was both excited and agitated. Soon after, he coughed up blood. His entire corporeal body was on the verge of collapse. His vital qi was greatly damaged, and his mental state was not good. De Li and the others weren't feeling well either. They were all listless and dispirited. Their vitality was greatly damaged, and the heaven-devouring formation was almost destroyed. The price they paid was extremely heavy. They were not in a hurry to rest and heal their wounds. Instead, they tried their best to sail the ancient ship across the sea. They had to leave in the shortest time possible. Otherwise, they would be in big trouble if they were blocked by the experts from the other factions. Recuperate first. This matter will definitely alarm the entire sea region, Suyin said solemnly. Although I'm not sure if they'll guess that it was us who did it. This matter is too big. We have to guard against it. Yin Kei and the others nodded as they sat cross-legged on the boat, silently recuperating from their injuries. Time passed. Day after day, the sea region became more and more restless. The news of the ancient Kuan Peng corpse spread far and wide, shocking the world. Too many people came to investigate, confirming that the ancient Kuan Peng corpse had been stolen. The reincarnation body stole the 3,000 zhang yang fish seedlings. Another shocking news spread across the sea region. It was said that at least a few hundred top experts had participated in the fight for the 3,000 zhang yang fish seedlings. In the end, no one had expected the reincarnation body of the underworld to suppress all the experts and steal the yang fish seedlings. Didn't the Tongtian young master participate as well? I thought he had taken it again. Last time, he obtained the 2,000 zhang yang fish seedlings. His strength has increased by a lot. Someone murmured in shock. How strong was the reincarnation body? Could it be that he was qualified to be the top 3 on the monarch rankings? Everyone knew that the reincarnation body was the strongest physique, on the same level as the Tongtian immortal physique. His strength had refreshed the world's understanding of him. Furthermore, if he was nourished by the 3,000 zhang yang fish seedlings, his battle prowess would soar in a short period of time. No, the Supreme Saintess has interfered to stop the Tongtian young master. Otherwise, the reincarnation body wouldn't have been able to get the fish seedlings so easily. Yes, and a group of young Supremes hasn't come to this sea region yet. Otherwise, who knows who would have gotten the fish seedlings? The news continued to spread, causing the whole world to be in an uproar. What happened in the 5-element treasure trove back then was still spreading like wildfire. Who would have thought that it would be the Supreme Saintess' turn to stop him? Sigh, where did the first Supreme Being go? The Xian people were in a bad mood. The Xian people's first Supreme Being had disappeared for a year. Now, the Emperor Road was in an uproar. Fortunes were emerging one after another to compete for supremacy. The descendants of various clans stood out and gained a lot of fame. However, the Xian people's first Supreme Being was getting less and less. Some people even suspected that he had died in the treasure trove. In short, the Xian people were in a bad mood. The first Supreme Being had disappeared, Xian Kuei had fallen, and a large number of Void Immortals had died. Although the Xian people still had a group of elite experts, it was difficult for them to take on great responsibilities. They were not strong enough to compete with the young Devil King. If this continued, the Xian people would be in a very awkward situation. They would be without a leader, especially the fortunes of the yang fish seedlings. The Xian people's harvest was very pitiful because they only got one. Suyin, when they thought of this demon king, the experts of the immortal race were so angry that their teeth itched. It was all because of him that the immortal race was in such a bad situation right now. The number 1 paragon might very well be trapped, or he might die. In short, there were rumors everywhere. Now, Su Yin and the others' injuries had recovered. The most important moment had arrived. The Kuan Peng's unparalleled divine ability was completely recorded on the forehead bone of the Kuan Peng corpse. Su Yin took out the 9 continents' heavenly cauldrons and studied the Kuan Peng's divine ability. He had to master this shocking divine ability as soon as possible. One should know that the Kuan Peng secret technique was most suitable for experts who were good at physical strength to cultivate. It was too important for Su Yin. It could perfectly unleash his advantages. What did you say? The odd heaven saint thought he had heard wrong. The Kuan Peng corpse had been taken away. Bastard, who did it? Who did it? In Junhao also received the news. His face was ashen. Who took away the Kuan Peng corpse while they were fighting for supremacy? This was really crazy. Whether the yang fish seedlings were 3,000 zhang or 4,000 zhang long, they were not as valuable as the Kuan Peng corpse. The Kuan Peng's divine ability was especially valuable. Once it was obtained, it was equivalent to mastering the most powerful divine ability. It was extremely important for a group of people. But now, someone told them that the Kuan Peng corpse had been taken away while they were fighting for supremacy over the young fish seedlings. Preposterous. Who did this? The group of people was furious. Their eyes were bloodshot. Up until now, they had no idea who did it. The other party's speed was very fast, and they even succeeded in one strike. It must be the young Devil King. Zhu Yanghua stood out. He had the bearing of a young, supreme being. He said coldly, how could he not be tempted by the 3,000 zhang long seedlings? But he didn't appear and even disappeared during this time. It's very likely that he took away the Kuan Peng corpse. If it really is him, then he's courting death. But I don't believe he has such guts. Heavenspan Young Master's words were extremely cold. This thing was too hot to handle. No one dared to rashly take it. Even if they had the ability, they still wouldn't dare to rashly suppress it. Otherwise, it would draw the attention of the world's experts. Jin Yongyun frowned slightly. The young Devil King indeed hadn't shown himself for half a year. Could he really be so obedient? He was subconsciously shocked. The first one to know about the young fish seedlings was definitely the young Devil King. The more he thought about it, the more shocked he became. He reckoned that the young Devil King's harvest this time was extremely shocking. Otherwise, with his temperament, how could he be so obedient and not fight over the young fish seedlings? It was probably because his harvest was too great that he didn't care about the other fish seedlings. Let's go and take a look at the destination. Wondrous Sky, Holy Child, said coldly. If it really was him who did it, then we'll directly kill him this time. His hands were behind his back. His body released boundless starlight. However, his expression was very cold. The young Devil King was a scourge. He wouldn't be able to eat or sleep peacefully until he was eliminated. This enemy's growth was also very fast. There were also other young overlords who said, if it was really the young Devil King who did it, then it's time to suppress his arrogance. The Emperor's path is an era of immortal sex, not an era of the deceased celestial court. The news of the ancient Kuan Peng corpse spread widely. The news of the young Devil King plucking away the great fortunes was also becoming more and more intense. Young Devil King, let's see how long you can live. I don't believe you can leave this place alive. Zhu Yanghua's expression was cold. He had said those words on purpose to attract the world's experts to target Su Yan. The matter of the ancient Kuan Peng corpse was too important. He didn't believe the experts of the great sects could sit still. In fact, Zhu Yanghua was anxious to suppress Su Yin and obtain information about Bamboo Moon from his mouth. Because the Sky Bamboo progenitor's space of fortune was closed, even someone as powerful as him couldn't enter. He also didn't know what had happened inside. Could it be that Bamboo Moon was still inside the space of fortune? Or could it be that she had always been inside? This made Zhu Yanghua very uneasy. He had to confirm this. Otherwise, there would be endless trouble. At the same time, in the Sky Bamboo progenitor's space of fortune, in a vast Sky Bamboo forest, there were 9 heavenly trials, one after another. This was originally the Sky Bamboo progenitor's most valuable treasure. It was also used to test the disciples of the Sky Bamboo progenitor. Bamboo Moon had been here for 2 to 3 years. The 7th trial has been broken through. Zhu was excited. This was no small matter. Once one stepped into the 7th trial, they would be qualified to enter the progenitor's tutelage and cultivate. It was equivalent to reaching the heavens in a single step. Zhu only used a little over 2 years to break the record. Perhaps it had something to do with her regrowing the Sky Bamboo aspect seed. In addition to the guidance of the prehistoric Big Brother, Bamboo Moon, her cultivation was too astonishing. After breaking through the 7th trial, Bamboo Moon had stepped into the true immortal realm. It was as if she had been reborn from destruction. Her brilliant body was snow white, and she was like a divine moon hanging high in the sky. She was dignified and elegant, graceful and noble, and peerlessly beautiful. Within her snow-white body, a seed was reborn from destruction. It was as if it had taken root in the sea of destruction, giving birth to a boundless aura of life. A stalk of bamboo appeared, formed from endless order and power, also like a unique human body, secret medicine, growing out from her body. After being destroyed, it was reborn. The bamboo had a bit of a special abnormality. The green bamboo took root in a special world. It blossomed with a divine radiance in the sea of destruction. One after another, the bamboo leaves were surrounded by rivers of stars. Moonlight pervaded the air, as if the world was being created. Juju became more and more alarmed. Bamboo Moon's path had already surpassed his understanding. Boom! The sky bamboo aspect lightly shook, and a large black crack appeared in the vault of heaven. The stars in the sky trembled violently, as if they were about to be directly brushed down. The seventh trial was also declared broken. A passage was opened that led to the eighth trial of the sky bamboo mountain. Bamboo Moon, what are you standing there for? Hurry up and go in. Juju was overjoyed, anticipating that she would gain more in the eighth trial. It had also entered the seventh trial before, but it had spent a long time on the eighth trial. Hearing this, Bamboo Moon frowned slightly. Her slender, snow-white body blossomed with a divine radiance. Her clothes fluttered as she said, I spent more than a year on the seventh trial. I reckon the eighth trial will take a long time. She missed Su Yin and wanted to go out to take a look. She felt uneasy. Moreover, the ancestral land of fortune could be visited again. There was no limit to the number of times. The reason why Bamboo Moon could not enter was because Bamboo Moon had entered the seventh trial. Once she broke through this trial, the Sky Bamboo Mountain would only be open to her for the next period of time. Juju was stunned. Then, he sighed and said, You're already a true immortal now. You can make your own decisions. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps came one after another. Juju and Bamboo Moon were stunned. A girl in green walked out of the space-time tunnel leading to the eighth trial. She looked somewhat unreal. Her hazy body seemed to have walked out of a mythical world. Chapter 1599. The Golden Sea was vast and boundless. The ancient ship, blazing with raging flames, crossed the sea. It crossed the boundless sea and traveled aimlessly. Above the ancient ship, an ominous aura pervaded the air as if it wanted to tear apart one's soul. Even with the support of the 9 continents' heavenly cauldrons, Su Yin and the others were still alarmed. Their bodies were constantly enduring a tearing pain. The enormous skeleton bobbed up and down inside the cauldron. It was like a living creature that blossomed with terrifying vitality. It was unknown how long it had been since its death, but it was still surging with an unrivaled, ominous aura. If not for the cauldron isolating most of the pressure, they wouldn't have been able to stand nearby unscathed. Wong, Su Yan's heavenly eyes shone. His pupils were blazing and emitted a glaring radiance. He stared at the supreme precious bone on the Kuan Peng's forehead. Under his observation, it vibrated with an incomparable power that could destroy the universe. Su Yan's eyes were stinging with pain. His body trembled slightly. It was difficult for him to endure this kind of attack. His aura soared to the peak as he endured the Kuan Peng's divine power. His heavenly eyes penetrated the origin as he observed the divine power engraved on it. In a split second, the world changed. It was as if millions of Kuan Pengs were lying on top of the precious bone. They were all formed from the most profound and profound laws. Millions of Kuan Pengs appeared and began to revolve. It was as if the long river of time had collapsed. Oh, Su Yan's body trembled. His eyes were stinging with so much pain that they were about to spill out blood. He felt as if his entire body was about to be obliterated. The Kuan Peng's divine power was too frightening. Millions of Kuan Pengs lined up and evolved to destroy the universe. It was filled with the most powerful, profound power. What a terrifying divine power! Su Yin was horrified because he saw an even deeper layer of profound power. Millions of Kuan Peng symbols combined together to form a giant ominous object that was as tall as the heaven and earth. It collapsed the starry sky, destroyed the heavenly stars, and sunk the moon. Everything was being suppressed by the Kuan Peng until it exploded. It was as if it was the only thing in this world that was unrivaled under the heavens and dominated the world. In the end, Su Yan's eyes turned blood red. blood spilled out from his body, and his body trembled uncontrollably. He couldn't see through all the mysteries. He couldn't hold on any longer, and blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. The situation of Dali and the others was even worse. Speaking of which, their bodies were strong enough. After being nourished by the celestial body elixir, their bodies were overbearing and filled with shocking heavenly power. However, the Kuan Peng was extremely strong and overbearing, and its body reigned supreme. Its strongest skill was to explain its strength to the extreme. As a Kuan Peng, it was very difficult to comprehend it. Buzz! Su Yin waved his hand, and the 9 continents' heavenly cauldrons entered a sealed state, isolating the Kuan Peng's ferocious aura. He calmed down as the Kuan Peng's runes appeared in his mind. These were the most powerful runes that contained the essence of the Kuan Peng's energy. They evolved into the power of order and slaughter. If he wanted to grasp this great divine ability, he had to learn these runes. In fact, this was already the 3rd time they had observed the Kuan Peng's divine ability. They'd gain a lot. Each of them pondered over their own path of the Kuan Peng's divine ability. This divine ability was grand and imposing, and it wasn't easy to completely master it. The most powerful divine ability originated from the Kuan Peng's lineage, so there was no need to mention how difficult it was to comprehend it. In short, they didn't plan to leave in a short period of time until they grasped the Kuan Peng's divine ability. Time flew by. It had already been half a month since the ancient Kuan Peng corpse was stolen. The sea region was becoming increasingly chaotic. There were also many Saint Child experts exploring various secret realms who entered the sea region for the Kuan Peng's divine ability. This matter caused a great commotion in the immortal heaven's will. The appearance of the most powerful divine ability caused a great commotion. Although it wasn't certain whether it was stolen by the young Devil King or not, this matter caused a few giants to pay close attention. The Kuan Peng's divine ability is a matchless divine ability. The Kuan Peng's 100,000 Zhang skeleton is also shocking. It's a worldly treasure material that can be used to refine supreme weapons. The value of the Kuan Peng skeleton alone is already hard to imagine. Who exactly stole it? Could it really be the young Devil King? The storm in the outside world was extremely great. The eyes of various great immortal sects were all red. If this world-shocking divine ability could be seized, then it would definitely be a sect protecting secret technique. It might even be ranked as the most powerful secret technique. Even the giant's eyes were red. Saint Child, it's here. At this moment, the wondrous heaven Saint Child arrived, hurrying to the destination. Currently, the energy of this sea region was still a bit exhausted. According to a few people's descriptions of the situation, the wondrous heaven Saint Child was moved. Heaven-devouring formation. Could it be this ancient formation? The other party should have grasped a formidable supreme treasure, borrowing the heaven-devouring formation's divine might to suppress the ancient Kuan Peng corpse. This speculation made everyone apprehensive. Exactly what level of supreme treasure was it? Even though there were some immortal sects that also had the most powerful supreme treasure, who would be willing to hand it over to them? If they were to lose it while nursing a grievance, then, for an immortal sect, it would be hard to avoid a clan extermination disaster. In reality, this type of supreme treasure was used to suppress the fate of a clan. It was impossible for it to be handed over to the younger generation. Even if the sword sect Fan Jian could barely grasp the Sky He Gemin sword, the sword sect still wouldn't hand it over to him. Moreover, it was almost impossible for this type of supreme treasure to display its most powerful divine might. Who knows, the user might have already been shaken to death before even brandishing it once. It's definitely him. The wondrous heaven Saint Child's expression became gloomy. He had salvaged a few broken formation fragments from this sea region, and he could tell that these were recently carved formation patterns. He coldly sneered, "Young Devil King, your abilities are truly great. You definitely have a wondrous supreme treasure on you, or else you wouldn't be able to carve such a profound ancient formation." Killing intent leaked out from his eyes. Su Yin not only had the ancient Kuan Peng corpse on him, he also had the divine escape secret technique. The wondrous heaven saint child also knew that relying on his own strength was basically impossible to suppress the celestial court's lineage. One could well imagine how great of a storm this matter would stir up. The situation in the sea region changed greatly. People all over the world were frantically searching for the celestial court's whereabouts. Even the golden shoreline was sealed. Too many experts from immortal sects stood out. Even if they were unrelated, they still wanted to fight for this great fortune. Everyone felt suffocated. Boundless killing intent swept through the sea region. Can the young Devil King hold on? Many people trembled and said, he has now become the public enemy. Many people are looking for him. Big news, the Demon Extermination Alliance has been established. 3 days later, a storm surged in the sea region. A world-shaking flood swept across the golden shoreline, as if it was going to destroy the world. Everyone was shocked. It was said that the Demon Extermination Alliance's lineup was world-shocking. The Tontian Young Master, the Wondrous Heaven Saint Child, Yin Juanhao, the Chaotic Grotto Saint Child, the Heavenly Water Sect Saintess, the Heavenly Bamboos Zhuyonghua, several true immortal overlords of the Xian people, and even more than 10 Saint Child-level experts. The Saint Children of immortal sects, regardless of status or identity, were all too high. No one would overlook their battle prowess. Almost 10 top experts of the Emperor rankings had gathered to form the Demon Extermination Alliance. The lineup was unimaginable. All of this was because of the ancient Kuan Peng corpse. The turbulent winds caused by the ancient Kuan Peng caused the golden shoreline to be in turmoil. The strongest storm of the Emperor Road is coming. The whole world was shocked. Someone said, the young Devil King is going to make the whole world his enemy. He has taken a great fortune and touched on their nerves. Many people felt suffocated. Who could withstand this? Once encountered, who could resist? It was truly despairing. Moreover, although the golden shoreline was vast and boundless, traces of him could always be found above the sea region. The Demon Extermination Alliance had been established. Su Yin went into hiding. Su Yin felt the pressure of the future. The ancient Kuan Peng corpse was a hot potato. Of course, he knew that. However, he had nothing to fear. He had already cultivated to the 5th heaven of the true immortal realm. His primordial spirit had recovered, and he had also obtained the Kuan Peng's peerless divine ability. His battle prowess would soar in a short time. Su Yin looked solemn as he sat cross-legged on the ancient ship. His powerful aura covered the sky and earth. If one got close, they would feel that Su Yan's body was surging with qi and blood. His flesh was blazing, as if the condensed universe was breathing inside his body. He had been studying the Kuan Peng's secret technique for a month. Su Yan's observation frequency was decreasing. He had also touched upon the essence of this secret technique. Boom! 2 days later, a strand of grand Tao fluctuation that caused one's heart to tremble flowed out, and it filled the entire ancient city. Da Li and the others were awakened. Their expressions changed when they saw that Su Yan's aura was not calm. It broke the silence and stirred up 1,000 ripples. In an instant, he became somewhat terrifying. He was so majestic that it was a mess. He was like an immortal king, entrenched between heaven and earth and looking down on all life in the universe. Although he did not move or cause any strange phenomena, the aura surging out of his body was like a silent ocean that suddenly erupted. Billions of waves surged out and collapsed the entire starry sky. Did Su Yin succeed? Yuan was shocked. They had been studying the Kuan Peng's secret technique for a month and had made great gains. However, it was very difficult to cultivate the complete Kuan Peng's secret technique. Su Yan's berserk aura seemed to indicate that he had succeeded. Roar! A few more days passed. Waves of low roars came from Su Yan's flesh shell. It was very fierce and deafening. It was as if an ancient giant was being nurtured in his flesh shell. What is brother Su Yin doing? Long Xiao retreated. The closer she was to Su Yin, the stronger the pressure. Even standing at the corner of the ship was difficult to endure. He's nurturing the Kuan Peng. Yenkei's vision was quite amazing. She saw some clues and said, "He's nurturing the complete Kunpeng's secret technique with the scripture. This secret technique is too overbearing and high-end. Even a top heavenly art can't bear it." Yuan's face was full of anticipation. It was said that the initiation scripture was all-encompassing and could evolve all kinds of techniques. Then, with Su Yan's initiation scripture, he could definitely nurture the complete Kunpeng's secret technique. Boom! Finally, an extremely terrifying fluctuation poured out from Su Yan's body. The vast universe in his body was like a waterfall of primal chaos. The sun, moon, and stars were arranged. Flowers, birds, fish, and insects appeared. It was as if a flourishing universe had appeared. Now, in his body, there was a fierce roar that sounded like an explosion in the primordial era. Vaguely, a giant divine Kun emerged from the sea and surged up from the primal chaos. It faced the wind and waves and destroyed the stars in his body. It crashed into the peak of the universe and turned into a pong. Roar! Su Yan suddenly opened his eyes and roared toward the sky. The sea in all directions trembled. Then the vast sea exploded. Waves rolled and tsunamis reached the sky, washing the golden starry sky. This was an aura that was even more turbulent than the ocean. It surged out and filled the world. If one observed carefully, one could see that the ripples that Su Yan spat out were like rocks flying out with monstrous magic power. His whole body was densely covered with Kunpeng runes. A terrifying power was constantly nourishing him. This was the heavenly power of the Kunpeng. Ha ha! Chapter 1600. Even though the Kunpeng had been extinct for a long time, it was still as ferocious as ever. The race's complete Kunpeng secret technique had unparalleled offensive power. Once the Kunpeng heavenly force was formed, its combat power would increase tremendously. Generally speaking, it was more shocking than sword arts. Most importantly, this skill was more suitable for Su Yan. The Kunpeng heavenly force filled the sky and spread out from Su Yan's body. It was shocking. The giant ancient ship trembled slightly, as if it could not withstand Su Yan's strength. Kunpeng heavenly force. The miser was frightened. In an instant, he had a feeling that he would be suppressed by the Kunpeng heavenly force and be killed. The mental deterrence was already very strong. The main reason was that Su Yan's murderous aura was too strong. Now this skill was too suitable for Su Yan. He could fully utilize his advantages. 1. Su Yan's body glowed, as if there was a terrifying demonic nature. His flesh shell was covered with mysterious Kunpeng talismans. It stirred up the strength of his body and had a far-reaching influence. It covered the vast sea and formed a shocking phenomenon. At the last moment, Su Yan's flesh shell glowed. His flesh and blood roared. Yang Qi rose, and his blood surged. He was like an immortal deity. His entire body was tempered by the Kunpeng heavenly force. His body was as stable as a mountain. Without a doubt, Su Yan had broken through too quickly during this period. His body was not stable. Now that he had completely stabilized his level 5 true immortal realm, his aura was even more intense and shocking. Boom! In the next moment, heaven and earth trembled. The entire ancient ship was shaking violently. Under the shocked gazes of Yuan and the others, Su Yan possessed peerless strength and a terrifying majestic bearing that surged into the heavens, and he emanated a thick and large glow of vital blood that shot into the sky and illuminated the time and space in the universe. It was peerlessly terrifying. Boom! A giant Kunpeng flashed out. It was extremely cold and arrogant, as if it had become the eternal ruler overlooking its territory. Pervert, too perverted! The flame sparrow cried out in alarm and said with widened eyes, "The complete Kunpeng's great divine ability is displayed through qi and blood. Su Yan's body is too powerful, and the immortal body elixir is truly of great help to him. Now that his cultivation has been stabilized, Su Yan is even more powerful. The blazing sparrow felt that it was time to put the Tier 8 immortal body fluid on the agenda. Once Su Yin really needed to evolve, it could directly strengthen his body and lay down a shocking foundation. Who knows, he might even be able to cultivate to become a true immortal. Boom! Dali waved his strong and powerful arms. Symbols appeared, and in a short period of time, his arms blazed with astonishing brilliance. They were filled with the world-shocking power of the Koan Peng. Big Brother is still the most perverted. Dali grinned and said, "It's already very impressive that I've only mastered one freehand move. The complete Koan Peng divine ability is too strong. In the future, it will definitely be Big Brother's strongest trump card in close combat. Yes, this secret technique is like adding wings to a tiger for Su Yin." They discussed excitedly. Su Yin was terrifyingly powerful. He was in his most powerful state, and his body was shining. Small Koan Pengs were shooting out from his pores one after another. His grasp of this secret technique was becoming more and more profound and exquisite. What is that? However, some people still managed to capture the Koan Peng rushing into the heavens. Someone's expression immediately changed and said in shock, "The aura of the Koan Peng. Could it be that the young Devil King has already mastered the Koan Peng's secret technique? Quick, spread the news and give me his coordinates. Quick!" This matter caused quite a commotion in this sea region. Some people came to investigate, but unfortunately, the Flame Sparrow's ship had already been destroyed. It had already disappeared a long time ago. However, after locking onto the young Devil King's coordinates, it would be relatively easy to find him again. The Demon Extermination Alliance's lineup is becoming more and more shocking. The Koan Peng's secret technique is truly enticing. Above the sea region, storms raged unceasingly. The Koan Peng's appearance caused a great commotion. The people of the celestial race were very anxious. Although there was a true immortal Overlord involved, he was still not the number one true immortal, nor was he an invincible genius. If he really suppressed Su Yin, it was still a problem whether or not Tantian Young Master would allow the celestial race to view the Koan Peng's secret technique. In short, the number one supreme being of the Xian people had disappeared. He had already been missing for a year. His life and death had become a mystery. The higher-ups of the Xian people were also very anxious. If not for the fact that the Xian people's number one supreme being's origin spirit lamp was still lit, they would have thought that he had died in battle. Another 10 days passed. Su Yan's comprehension of the Koan Peng's secret technique had come to an end. Yuan and the others had gained a lot. Although it was difficult for them to operate the complete Koan Peng's secret technique, just some loose techniques were enough to become their trump card. There are many experts behind us searching for our tracks. Fan Jian frowned. The sea region was likely going to be chaotic. Many people were looking for them, unwilling to let Su Yan obtain such a great fortune. No matter. Su Yan's black hair draped over his shoulders. He sat cross-legged on the ancient ship and said indifferently, "It's a good opportunity to see just how many experts will jump out to target us." Fan Jian was shocked. Su Yan's conviction was becoming stronger and stronger. This was a truly peerless conviction. He feared nothing and could crush everything. So much time has passed, but we still can't find any traces of Bao Kai. Now, even a number one supreme being of the Xian people has disappeared. Yuan said worriedly, "This sea region is really strange. Who knows what kind of secrets are hidden here? We have to solve this matter as soon as possible." Hearing this, Su Yin nodded and said, "The collection of fortunes has ended. My strength has also improved greatly. It's time to uncover the hidden mysteries of the Golden Sea region. The mysterious sky, Saint Sun's mastery of the mysterious gate can't be underestimated. He must have been searching for the secrets of the Golden Sea region all this time. Brother, what trump card do you have that you haven't used yet?" Fan Jian's heart burned. On the surface, the fortunes were already so shocking. Who knew what was hidden in the Golden Sea region? Su Yin smiled mysteriously. He was naturally relying on the heaven-opening writing brush. However, the heaven-opening writing brush was different from the 9 continents heaven cauldrons. This item could only unleash its power by relying on Su Yin. Now, that Su Yin was at stage 5 true immortal realm, he definitely had the qualifications to use the heaven-opening writing brush. Let's begin. Su Yin didn't hesitate at all and took out the heaven-opening writing brush. Outsiders couldn't see any clues about the ancient heaven-opening writing brush. Even Su Yin couldn't clearly see how powerful it was. When Su Yin sprinkled the strongest energy from his body and began to activate the heaven-opening writing brush, it was much stronger than the last time. It wasn't to the extent that it was drained of energy. Heaven-opening writing brush awakened. Su Yan's eyes widened. His entire body was about to merge with the heaven-opening writing brush. This ancient heaven-opening writing brush seemed a little frightening. A small amount of energy sputtered out, seeming to sever the entire space and time. It also seemed to split the entire sea. Could the heaven-opening writing brush really split the sky and earth? Su Yin didn't know the answer now, but Su Yin, who was in charge of the heaven-opening writing brush, felt that his entire person was different. His horizons had soared countless times. In the world presented by the heaven-opening writing brush, all matter had to reveal its proper origin. The Golden Ocean domain changed. What appeared in Su Yan's eyes was a huge golden vortex. He was shocked and in disbelief. Was this the original appearance of the Golden Ocean domain? A golden vortex? When he wanted to trace the origin in depth, he discovered that a terrifying substance had locked onto the Golden Ocean domain. Su Yin was dumbfounded. He raised his head and looked at the 9 suns. The 9 suns were in the golden starry sky. At that moment, Su Yin discovered that the 9 suns were a super powerful domain that locked the Golden Ocean domain. It was like some kind of supreme array. Su Yan's heart was filled with shock. What kind of layout was this? He had never heard of it before. It was beyond his understanding. As the heaven-opening writing brush spun continuously, it shone and surged with the power to split the sky. Gradually, Su Yin discovered that the layout of the 9 suns was shattered. Suddenly, the 9 suns merged and formed a brand new sun. It was obvious that the heaven-opening writing brush had deduced the next stage of the layout. The merged sun spewed out sacred splendor. Its yang qi was vast and terrifying. Although it was evolved by the heaven-opening writing brush, the undying heavenly sun was also extremely powerful. It had an ancient aura, like a sun that had burned for billions of years. It was dazzling and shocking. Could it be that it can't be broken? Su Yin had a headache. This sun was too shocking. Not to mention him, even a grand heavenly realm powerhouse who was 100 times stronger couldn't get close to it. The temperature it emitted was enough to burn a grand heavenly realm, true immortal to death. Who would get close to it? He felt that there must be a shocking opportunity inside the undying heavenly Sunday. Perhaps the young fish seedlings born in the Golden Ocean domain had a certain relationship with the undying blazing Sunday. The temperature inside is so frightening. There's even extremely powerful yang qi. Su Yin was even more shocked. Through the heaven-opening writing brush, he saw some blurry images. First, there was a heavenly sun that had burned for a long time without being extinguished. In fact, its value was enough to make a primogenitor powerhouse green with envy. Su Yan's heart stirred. If he could steal strands of extremely powerful yang qi, it would definitely be of great help to him. I wonder if the body nurturing technique can be obtained? Su Yan's mind was active. There was nothing to say. He directly made his move. Buzz. His body shone. When the body nurturing technique was activated, Su Yan's body revived and breathed on its own. He seemed to have turned into a great Tao divine fetus, seizing the creation of heaven and earth and stealing the extremely powerful yang qi inside the undying heavenly sun. However, when the body nurturing technique was activated to its limit, Su Yan's expression changed drastically. Somehow, he formed a special connection with the undying heavenly Sunday suddenly. He saw a terrifying figure slumbering in the inextinguishable heavenly sun, emitting waves of world-suppressing fluctuations. Su Yan's body trembled violently from the endless path of space-time. Could it be? Su Yan was surprised and delighted. He thought of the scene he saw when he first entered the Golden Ocean domain and experienced the special space-time. That scene was actually inside the undying heavenly Sunday. This shocked and surprised Su Yan. The body-nurturing technique continued, resonating with Su Yan's essence spirit. He wanted to see more clearly. Perhaps he could find a way to enter the undying heavenly Sunday. In the extreme state of the body-nurturing technique, Su Yan's essence spirit couldn't help but sway. There was an uncontrollable guidance that urged Su Yan's essence spirit to leave his body. The golden soul body charged directly into the undying heavenly sun. There's more at night. Chapter 1601. 9 heavenly suns hung high in the sky, illuminating the starry skies of the universe. Under the heaven-opening writing brush's deduction, the heavenly suns had fused into one. On the surface, it looked like there were still 9 heavenly suns, but in truth, there was an undying heavenly sun within them. This wasn't a true fusion. The 9 heavenly suns were the layout, but the undying heavenly sun was the array core that led the layout. As long as the array core could be opened, the greatest secret of the Golden Sea region could be uncovered. Now, Su Yan's primordial spirit had left his body and was crossing the void. As he approached the undying heavenly sun, the blazing heat burned Su Yan's primordial spirit to the point of exploding. Body-nurturing art. Su Yan was very calm. His primordial spirit released the power of the body-nurturing art. This secret technique could protect Su Yan. He felt that the undying heavenly sun was related to the body-nurturing art. The body-nurturing art was like a pass that could ensure that Su Yan could enter safely. It had to be known that the body-nurturing art was inextricably linked to the legendary heaven-stealing art. Whoosh! In an instant, Su Yan's primordial spirit broke into the undying heavenly Sunday. This undying heavenly sun that was hidden in the void suddenly became blazing hot, shaking the entire sea region. What is that? Everyone lost their composure as they saw a giant sun appear in the starry skies. It was so bright that it hurt their eyes. All they could see was a giant silhouette. The undying heavenly sun released billions of strands of yang energy. It was like a tyrannical sun. Good fortune. The marvelous sky, Saint Sun's complexion changed. He leapt up from the ground, wanting to rush towards the undying heavenly Sunday. But the undying heavenly sun only appeared for a brief moment before vanishing as if it had never appeared. But the starry skies it was in were as black as ink. Without a doubt, the undying heavenly sun's temperature was too frightening. It had melted into a black abyss. Many people felt their scalps go numb. Wasn't this temperature too scorching? Once they approached, there was an 80% chance they would be burned to ashes. What kind of layout is this? In the center of the 9 heavenly suns, there was another sun, but why did it disappear? The golden oceanic region was in an uproar. This matter had caused quite a commotion. Some people felt that this was a world-shaking layout. 9 suns were revolving around a single sun. Perhaps the fortune was hidden within the sun. But no matter how they searched, no matter how hard they searched, there wasn't a single trace of the solar system in the pitch-black starry skies that had been melted away. Holy sun, at this moment, the mysterious heaven sect's disciples were greatly shaken. Although the eternal heavenly sun had disappeared, the ancient Tao diagram in the mysterious heaven holy sun's hand was emitting light and heat. The entire Tao diagram unfurled on its own. Millions upon millions of complex characters appeared on the Tao diagram. They were bitter and difficult to understand, as if a heavenly book of the great Tao had been opened. Densely packed words filled the air, emitting a divine radiance. Moreover, the endless mysterious characters arranged themselves and evolved into a terrifying heavenly brush. It was as if they were engraving a golden age and controlling the universe. This is the heirloom treasure of my clan, the Imperial Sky Tao diagram. The group of disciples felt their scalps go numb. Someone stammered. The Imperial Sky Tao diagram was forged by the Grand Ancestor with blood, sweat, and tears. It was inscribed with the imperial sky brush, and it was said that it took tens of thousands of years. The imperial sky Tao diagram was a Tao diagram forged from all kinds of heaven and earth stone embryos. Just the imperial sky Tao diagram's value alone was shocking enough. Coupled with the imperial sky brush that the grand ancestor of the mysterious heaven sect had mastered, the imperial sky Tao diagram's laws were engraved. Therefore, the day the imperial sky Tao diagram was born, it directly became one of the three greatest treasures of the mysterious heaven sect. The imperial sky Tao diagram, the imperial sky brush, and the heaven sealing vase were the three greatest treasures of the mysterious heaven sect. The mysterious heaven sect disciples didn't expect the Holy Sun to bring the imperial sky Tao diagram. In fact, the imperial sky Tao diagram had been given to the Holy Sun recently. It was for the Golden Waters. A peerless land of fortune that could even give birth to young fish must have other spaces of fortune. The imperial sky Tao diagram was blazing and terrifying. The Tao diagram manifested endless mysteries of heaven and earth. Finally, the imperial sky brush appeared on the Tao diagram. It pointed to a location, and the destination was in the distant sea. Ha ha ha! The mysterious heaven Holy Sun was overjoyed. He said excitedly, "The eternal heavenly sun appeared in the sky and caused a slight fluctuation in the layout. That's why the imperial sky Tao diagram captured it. From this, one can see how magnificent the layout is. There a shocking opportunity. Holy Sun, what should we do about the young Demon King?" The mysterious heaven sect's disciples were also surprised. However, they felt that they would be able to find the celestial court's warship if they were given more time. Hearing this, the mysterious heaven Holy Sun sneered and said, "The important matters are more important. There are too many experts who want to kill the young Demon King. Even if we can suppress him, it's too difficult to obtain his treasures. The treasures in the Golden Waters are the greatest fortune here. The Kuan Peng's divine ability is tempting, but who knows how strong the competition will be. Let's go. We'll immediately head to the Mark C region and open the treasure space. It's been a year, and we can finally witness the greatest fortune." The mysterious heaven Holy Sun didn't dare to stay a moment longer. He quickly left with the mysterious heaven sect's experts. The Golden Waters was boiling. The eternal heavenly sun had only appeared briefly. However, some people felt that the fortune in the Golden Waters was about to open. This sea region had been open for a year, and the young fish were almost extinct. If this continued, many people would choose to leave and fight for other resource secret realms if the fortune didn't appear. Moreover, the top 100 competition wouldn't drag on for too long. Once the Emperor Road's top 100 competition started, it would be a real bloodbath. The Demon Extermination Alliance was still terrifying. More and more people joined in, and their lineup was truly shocking. Who could survive such an encirclement? No one noticed that Su Yan's primordial spirit had left his body and entered the eternal heavenly sun. It was like a sun star that had been burning for tens of thousands of years. Terrifying yang qi flowed out, and peak true immortals would be burned to ashes immediately. Isn't this temperature a little too ridiculous? Su Yan's heart trembled. His primordial spirit was covered in black armor. This was Xian Jun's primordial spirit's supreme treasure, a rare treasure at the grand heavenly realm. However, this armor alone couldn't withstand the temperature of the eternal heavenly sun. The body-nurturing technique wasn't a defensive technique, but it could protect Su Yan's primordial spirit. Su Yan subconsciously wondered if this place had something to do with the ancient celestial court. However, Su Yan guessed that the Golden Sea region originated in prehistoric times. It should have been billions of years ago. In terms of time, the celestial court and prehistoric times didn't exist in the same space-time. Why could the two have such a special connection? Su Yan was surprised. The sun star was a forbidden zone for life. Its blazing temperature was rampant, and in this fiery world, Su Yan's primordial spirit didn't dare to wander around for fear of encountering danger. Similarly, he tried to use the body-nurturing technique to steal strands of yang qi, but he suffered a great loss. The yang qi penetrated his primordial spirit, causing Su Yan's primordial spirit to be burned until it was distorted. The pain was so intense that it felt like it was going to explode. The energy matter was too high-end, and Su Yan's primordial spirit couldn't bear it. I have to be careful. He was alarmed. The eternal heavenly sun was huge, and he couldn't see the end. Su Yan carefully explored this place, advancing deeper. There's a palace. Su Yan was shocked. In the endless sea of fire, yang qi filled the air, and a huge palace was faintly discernible. There were actually buildings here? Just what kind of material was used to forge this palace? It was simply too inconceivable. Just what kind of treasured material was used to forge this palace after enduring the heat of the flames for so long without being destroyed? He quickly approached the palace. It was huge, grand, and ancient. At this moment, Su Yan discovered why the huge palace could exist for so long. It was because the entire palace was densely covered in profound and ancient patterns. These were Tao patterns branded on the huge palace. Su Yan was filled with anticipation as he stepped into the huge palace to explore. Inside the huge palace, the flowing aura was not simple. Su Yan felt like he was standing on a million blazing flames, standing on the shoulders of giants, overlooking the world. What kind of person lived here? The palace he lived in? The Tao essence left behind is enough to shake the world. Su Yan was moved. Inside the palace, there was an everlasting aura. Even the passage of time and flames couldn't erase it. It had existed for so long, and its influence was great. Moreover, he had comprehended a Tao essence that could shake the world from the huge palace. Without a doubt, there were experts who comprehended the Tao here in prehistoric times. As time passed, the huge palace's influence also changed. The value of this palace was very high. If it fell into the hands of an expert skilled in the fire Tao, it would definitely be a great harvest. The Tao essence gained from long-term comprehension would be great. Standing on the shoulders of giants, even the world I see is different. Su Yan sighed. As he walked around the huge palace, he felt as if he was sublimating. It was as if his cultivation had imperceptibly increased sharply. Unfortunately, this wasn't suitable for Su Yan's great Tao, nor was it the path he wanted to walk. He didn't stay in the huge palace for long, nor did he dare to rashly move it away. The following scene made Su Yan speechless. Along the way, he discovered many huge palaces. He entered and explored each one to taste the spirit and breadth of mind of an expert. His gains were great. This was a different kind of cultivation. Every huge palace had a different aura and great Tao. He had a bold conjecture. If the Golden Sea region was the Tao field of a flourishing sect, then this should be the cultivation ground of that sect's experts. It could be said that this was the ancestral court. It wasn't simple at all. Over 100 huge palaces were definitely the temporary imperial residences of over 100 indomitable experts. Gradually, Su Yan's primordial spirit was baptized. It was resplendent, sparkling, and emitting divine radiance. His soul energy was especially abundant and powerful. There was a kind of great divine might, as if he had transformed into an indestructible deity. The path is cut off. Gradually, the path ahead became impassable. A vast sea of flames surged with yang energy that could evaporate everything. There was a kind of forbidden heavenly might. Su Yan's heart trembled. He once again circulated the body, nurturing technique. His primordial spirit lit up and became extremely transparent. His entire being was like a great Tao, immortal fetus walking in the mortal world. Gate? Su Yan was moved. As expected, the body nurturing technique had a great relationship with this place. A huge gate appeared amidst the surging yang energy sea. It was somewhat indistinct and mysterious. It looked as if it didn't exist in this space-time. It was fairly ancient and was emitting the fluctuations of an era's destruction. Su Yan was filled with anticipation as he stepped into the gate. It was similar to the first time he stepped into the Golden Sea region. His primordial spirit was so weak that it was difficult to endure and was about to faint. The body nurturing technique was helping Su Yin recover. At the same time, a small amount of yang energy was nourishing his declining primordial spirit. Gradually, Su Yin regained his clarity. The scene before his eyes brightened, but Su Yin was completely petrified. He once again saw a supreme deity sleeping in the depths of the indestructible heavenly sun. It was hazy with immortal radiance and was like a supreme immortal spirit emitting a world-suppressing heavenly might. Is that a great emperor? Su Yan's hair stood on end. He was stunned. That was because he felt that the sleeping expert had vitality. Every once in a while, he would breathe once. It was like a great emperor breathing in the air of life. However, his breathing was a little frightening. The entire space-time was trembling and difficult to bear. Between each breath, heaven and earth trembled. He was simply a giant sleeping in prehistory. His heavenly might was vast and mighty, suppressing the universe with a divine might that was difficult to nurture. Was this an emperor's might? It was deeply rooted in one's heart. Su Yan's primordial spirit was suppressed like an ant. He's alive. Su Yan clenched his fists tightly. He felt his vitality reviving. A dormant heart gradually regained vitality. Every time his heart trembled, Su Yan felt that his primordial spirit was about to explode. He felt that the body-nurturing technique was protecting him, preventing him from being affected or disturbed. Otherwise, he would really explode. Perhaps even a grand heavenly realm expert would be no exception. How strong was this life form? Chapter 1602. In the depths of the eternal heavenly sun, a sleeping creature was awakening. Although the process was slow, he could still capture it. Layers of life energy seeped out. It was grand and exceptional, as if it could pierce through the past, present, and future. What level was this creature at? The world couldn't bear it. The terrifying energy passed through one era after another from the past to the present, presenting ancient scenes of time and space. It was as if millions of creatures were kowtowing to him. The influence was too great. Su Yan was stupefied. He captured some scenes that originated from the past. That was his aura, as if he had been revived from the past. It was also because he was too powerful that it was extremely difficult for him to awaken. A small amount of his aura pressured Su Yan's primordial spirit to the point of collapse. In front of such a powerful creature, even the universe seemed insignificant. As he breathed, the entire time and space emitted intense sounds. The mysterious expert floated in the depths of the eternal heavenly Sunday. This scene was laid out in front of Su Yan, and the shock it produced was too great. He was very vague and mysterious, as if he was sleeping in time and space. His true body couldn't be seen. His entire body was enveloped in dazzling, immortal splendor, and the world was filled with the sound of his breathing. It was intimidating. What's that? Su Yan was astonished. As the mysterious expert breathed, his mouth and nose shone, blowing the things floating around him. Was this his treasure? He stared with wide eyes. Su Yan didn't want to leave in a daze. Even if it was difficult to figure out the situation here, he still wanted to obtain something. Soon, Su Yan saw a simple and unadorned stone. It was very small, only the size of a palm, and looked quite heavy. A stone tablet? Su Yan was astonished. He was also very clear that any random treasure of this kind of person was extraordinary, not to mention this stone tablet that he kept close to his body. It definitely wasn't an ordinary supreme treasure. The stone tablet floated in the void, only the size of a palm. If one observed carefully, they would discover that the mysterious person was sleeping. As he breathed, the aura in his body penetrated into the stone tablet, and then the stone tablet fed back energy into his body. It was a strange scene. It seemed to be nourishing his supreme treasure. Could it be that this thing was his natal supreme treasure? Su Yan could not figure it out. He felt that the mysterious man's vitality was constantly emitting, as if he was really about to awaken. However, it was very difficult for him to wake up. The aura of vitality was too strange, which caused him to be unable to completely awaken. Is it because of the body-nurturing technique? Could it be that I was the one who woke him up from his slumber? Su Yan thought in his heart. This secret art was passed down to him by his big brother in the prehistoric era. It was very important that it was qualified to ripen the reincarnation herb. One could imagine how terrifying this secret art was. Its value was most likely higher than the Kuan Peng's divine ability. His heart grew even more solemn as he activated the body nurturing technique once again. Su Yin circulated the body nurturing art almost endlessly. When this mystic art was released to the extreme in Su Yan's body, it felt like it could break through the prison of heaven and earth and penetrate to the third level. Su Yin reckoned that the third level of the body nurturing art's strongest chapter should be the same as his big brother in the prehistoric era, which was to steal the strongest matter in the world. However, this stage was definitely very difficult and could not be easily cultivated. The second stage of the body nurturing art, in a state of absolute pinnacle, had indeed formed a terrifying resonance with the slumbering existence. Boom! In an instant, a vast aura was emitted, affecting the entire undying heavenly Sunday. It was boundless and boundless, as if the universe was collapsing. The slumbering figure seemed to be stretching his body in the chaos. His skin gushed out rays of light, tearing apart space and time. Terrifying cracks appeared one after another. It was an unimaginable scene. Every crack extended very far away, with a very dense aura of time. Every crack corresponded to a time in the universe. Just how strong was this being in an era of the universe? The aura he emitted affected the long river of time. It was as if he was living in the past and the future at the same time. It was difficult to describe just how imposing a supreme god was. Was this a monarch? His divine might was immeasurable and indescribable. It was unknown just how strong he was. It was as if he was living in the river of time. His strength was enough to affect the entire history. He is really going to come back to life. Su Yin was shocked. A heaven-defying vitality was awakening. It seemed that because of the body-nurturing art, he was gradually awakening from his slumber and erupting. Huff! Even as he breathed heavily, his chest rose and fell as he spat out mouthfuls of gas. Su Yin felt his mouth and tongue go dry. He spat out some treasures. Perhaps he could obtain them. Soon, Su Yin saw ancient books spew out from his mouth and nose. Could these be the treasures hidden in his body? The palm-sized stone tablet was one, but now 2 ancient books were spat out in succession. Perhaps there were other treasures hidden in his body's treasure space. Su Yan's eyes were red. After all, the treasures in the body of such an expert were the most important to him. The 2 ancient books were as heavy as the abyss, carrying a heavy historical pressure. They floated in the void and even landed on the palm-sized stone tablet. And this stone tablet actually landed beside him? Su Yin was stunned. He pointed at the palm-sized stone tablet and the 2 ancient books. Could these be given to him? Was it because of the body-nurturing art that this slumbering giant gave them to him? Su Yin scratched his head. Was this for real or fake? He couldn't help but look at the 2 ancient books, one black and one gold. Each ancient book emitted a rich aura of time. It was unknown how long they had existed for, but they were filled with mystery. Su Yin couldn't understand the contents of the ancient books. But as he carefully sensed the fluctuations, Su Yin was shocked. On the black ancient book, 3 ancient characters appeared. The meaning of the scriptures was too vast and majestic. Emperor's suppressing art. Su Yin was shocked. What kind of title was this? Wasn't this too incredible? Emperor's suppressing art? Could it be that once this secret technique was grasped, even an emperor could be suppressed? Just this title alone was enough for Su Yin to feel. It could swallow the river of time and space, unparalleled in its magnificence and awe the world. Emperor suppressing art. He was excited. Was this an unparalleled divine power given to him? Soon, Su Yan's eyes landed on the second ancient book. The golden ancient book was dazzling and blazing like a concentrated sun. There were traces of source energy leaking out from it. What kind of stone was this book made of? There was terrifying source chi leaking out, and there was exuberant yang chi. It was as if it could explode the heavens and create a glorious era. Mother-Son Sutra. Su Yan's essence spirit trembled and let out a hysterical roar. Mother-Son Sutra. My eyes aren't playing tricks on me, right? This is the legendary Mother-Son Sutra. He was shocked and had goosebumps all over his body. This was a Mother-Son Sutra of heaven and earth. Mother-Son Sutra of heaven and earth. Great Yin, Great Yang. Great Yin, main physical body. Great Yang, main essence spirit. Heavens. Su Yan's breathing was heavy. His chest rose and fell violently, and he was about to lose control of his emotions. This was really a huge gift because he felt that he could directly open the Mother-Son Sutra. He felt that this Mother-Son Sutra had triggered the potential of the white mist in his essence spirit to riot. This seemed to be what belonged to him. A supreme sutra. This made Su Yan burst with joy. He was worried about how to find an unparalleled heavenly art to strengthen his essence spirit. The Sutra of the Future was no longer suitable for him. He didn't expect to encounter the legendary Mother-Son Sutra here. He instantly figured it out. No wonder the first Supreme of the Xian people gave up a great opportunity to come here. It was because of this Mother-Son Sutra. Su Yan also heaved a sigh of relief. He was a little worried that the first Supreme of the Xian people could obtain two unparalleled Mother-Son Sutras. Now that the Mother-Son Sutra had fallen in front of him, it was really a great fortune. Boom! In an instant, a loud explosion shook the heavens and the earth. Su Yan's essence spirit shook, and he spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Even the black armor on him cracked. He turned pale with fright. The Grand Luo Supreme Treasure Armor was about to explode. What kind of energy was awakening? It came too suddenly, and it was completely different from the aura of the slumbering Supreme God. What's that? Su Yan cried out. His essence spirit controlled the heaven-opening writing brush to protect his essence spirit. At the same time, Su Yan raised his head to look at the sky. The space-time cracks that originally filled the sky collapsed uniformly. An unparalleled, invincible aura descended, destroying everything and opening up a giant passage. It's that. Su Yan's eyes widened in anger. This was an extremely familiar scene. Su Yan would never forget it. Back then, the 9-transformation True Dragon had consumed more than 100 Imperial blood and finally revived. When he was passing through a mysterious passageway, he was killed. If it weren't for the mysterious sand that helped the 9-transformation True Dragon revive again, there would be no long day sown. Now, a similar scene was happening. Su Yan felt like his insides were about to burst. What was this? Was this trying to kill all the strongest beings? The 9-transformation True Dragon had encountered a calamity. Now it was the turn of the slumbering Supreme God here. Rumble. The vast and boundless passageway crushed everything as it descended from the sky. It was like a gray and hazy universe. Order symbols manifested, capable of destroying everything. It seemed supreme, carrying with it the power of order that judged all. It wanted to judge the Supreme God. No emperor under the heavens. Suddenly, a familiar voice echoed in Su Yan's ears again. One syllable after another swept out from the 9th netherworld, carrying with it the law of annihilation. It sprinkled down just like that, wanting to kill the strongest god who was in a deep slumber. Su Yan's limbs turned cold. His hair stood on end. The mysterious sand on him was already very limited. Could it help this slumbering supreme being? Moreover, he felt that the situation this time was much more brutal than the previous one. The gray and hazy universe spun, supporting everything. It was boundlessly huge. It was as if the dark heavens were blooming, capable of killing all enemies. Roar! All of a sudden, a loud roar exploded. The entire gray and hazy universe was trembling. Under Su Yan's shocked gaze, the slumbering Supreme God's primordial spirit left his body. It was too resplendent, so resplendent that it was as if billions of immortal heavenly suns had merged into one, emitting a terrifying radiance. Rumble! The terrifying yang qi of the soul body overflowed into the sky, shaking the universe. It was boundlessly terrifying. In an instant, a primordial spirit left his body and pounced forward. It was too fast and too unimaginable. It was as if a flourishing universe had opened up in an instant, instantly becoming 1,000,000,000 times stronger. The gray and hazy universe was directly knocked down. This was quite domineering and terrifying. It wanted to destroy the source of terror and find a mastermind behind it. Chapter 1603. It was matchless and majestic. Yang energy suffused the air as it crashed into a corner of the dusky universe. Its primordial spirit was too intimidating. It was so brilliant that it was as if millions upon millions of undying suns had merged into one. It emitted a terrifying radiance that illuminated the entire dusky universe. Su Yan was shaken. The supreme aura from the ancient times pressed down along the long river of time and space. In an instant, it went from being weak to being countless times more terrifying. Its awakening speed was too fast. Could it be that it was unbelievable? So much so that Su Yan could clearly sense that the golden primordial spirit was like a supreme yang god. Its aura devoured the universe, and its soul fluctuations were matchless. It was entwined with millions upon millions of strands of yang mother qi, capable of burning the heavens and boiling the seas. It was omnipotent. He cultivates the Sun Mother Sutra. Su Yan's eyes widened. Could this sea region be his Tao field? Could it be that this was a peerless existence from prehistoric times that had lived for millions upon millions of years? Could it be that it was even more powerful than the mysterious skeleton? Of course, all of this was merely Su Yan's guess. It was merely the primordial spirit's body. Yet it was like a matchless immortal or devil. It was extremely brilliant and glorious. Its speed was also extremely fast. In an instant, it tore apart the starry skies and the dusky universe. Moreover, as it rushed madly, it was almost about to blow up the entire dusky universe in an instant. Su Yan's blood boiled as he watched. This was a true powerhouse. This was an invincible existence, a matchless existence. Boom! The grand and vast dusky universe couldn't see the end. One could also see that it was shaking and collapsing. Even the supreme destruction order couldn't match its majesty. The peerless primordial spirit cultivated the Sun Mother Sutra. Its entire primordial spirit was like a living Mother Sutra that was reciting the most powerful heavenly art. Heaven and Earth Mother Sutra, Great Yin and Great Yang. These two great heavenly arts were also known as the strongest heavenly arts in history. One could imagine how heaven-defying such a powerhouse was. Yang energy filled the sky and tore apart the vast and boundless dusky world. It was about to split open the entire universe. In an instant, the gray universe that was riddled with holes started to revolve. Black fog billowed at the end of the region and soon covered the entire passageway. It was as if a dark heavenly domain had descended upon the world. In an instant, the universe that was illuminated by golden divine light became gloomy for a short period of time. The heavenly phenomena reversed, and black lightning was born one after another. This was formed from the interweaving of the strongest order and laws, containing great destruction. The boundless lightning couldn't be traced back to its source. It was as if it had swept over from prehistoric times, and it quickly destroyed the heavens and the earth. Su Yan trembled in fear. At the end of this dusky cosmos, it seemed like there was an extremely powerful creature that was going to slaughter its way out. There were already terrifying signs, and there was also an endless source of destruction descending. Crack! The jet-black armor on Su Yan's body was crumbling and on the verge of completely shattering. He lost control of himself, his body and mind feeling like they were about to split apart. His primordial spirit was as insignificant as a speck of dust in this type of layout, about to shatter at any moment. If I didn't have the heaven-opening brush to protect me, my primordial spirit would have evaporated and been destroyed. Su Yan's expression was solemn. This kind of war was not something he could observe from close distance. Otherwise, he would be met with an unexpected disaster. Let's go, Su Yan growled. He had to leave, or he might very well die here. At the critical moment before leaving, Su Yan was unwilling to let go of this opportunity. He grabbed the palm-sized stone tablet and wanted to take it away. However, this stone tablet was too heavy. Su Yan used all his strength, but he couldn't take it away at all. Damn it! Su Yan's face was ashen. His palm also reached for the Emperor Suppression Art, looking forward to obtaining this unparalleled divine ability. However, suppressed similarly, the Emperor technique was extremely heavy. It was extremely difficult to lift it. This caused Su Yan's face to turn green. Did he need to use some special method to take away such an ancient and dazzling divine skill? Only the Tying Mother Sutra had fallen into Su Yan's hands. Now, this was the most important thing to him. He could give up everything except the Tying Mother Sutra. The Tying Mother Sutra. If not for the potential of the white mist in my primordial spirit, it would be extremely difficult to take it away. Su Yan thought to himself, this Emperor Suppression Art probably needs some special method. Forget it. Let's leave this place first. Su Yan quickly retreated. He didn't leave the indestructible heavenly sun immediately. Soon, Su Yan rushed to the outer region and entered a giant palace. This giant palace had protective Tao patterns that could isolate the shock waves of the battle. Even so, the giant palaces began to tremble, triggering Tao cries and causing strange phenomena to fill the sky. It was as if the giant palaces were about to collapse. Fortunately, these giant palaces were strong enough to isolate the shock waves of the battle zone. Could there really be living beings in there? But what region are they from? And what realm did they cross over from? Su Yan's hair stood on end. The dusky universe had once killed a 9 transformations true dragon. Now, it was blooming more ferociously than before. He could faintly see that at the end of the dusky universe, there was a source of terror leaking out. Su Yan saw a figure. Of course, he couldn't see it clearly. It was just a giant imprint. It seemed to be a reflection of a giant human avatar from another universe. It stepped on a mysterious ancient road, bringing with it an aura that could destroy everything as it headed towards this realm. Su Yan was shocked. There really were living beings. It was too unbelievable. Where did these people come from? Could they not be in the undying heavenly domain? Could they be in another realm? Or could it be that in the void, there weren't only the Xianhuang heavenly domain and the undying heavenly domain, but other heavenly domains and space-time dimensions? No matter what, the aura of the paramount god had caused a calamity to descend. What made Su Yan's face turn serious was it the darkness calamity? Was it the mastermind behind the darkness calamity? There was no emperor in the world. Reconciliation? What was an emperor? Su Yan had conversed with Blazing Sparrow before. She had said something that puzzled Su Yan. According to Blazing Sparrow, the Monarch Realm was a realm that no longer existed. The Monarch Realm was a special realm that didn't exist in the undying heavenly domain. This was because the Monarch Realm was only born in the Xianhuang heavenly domain. The Monarch Realm seemed to be a title. It was a title that involved many things and was extremely complicated. It seemed to require a terrifying aura to be crowned as an emperor. In any case, Blazing Sparrow couldn't explain it clearly. Su Yan felt that reality was cruel. Perhaps the world didn't allow the birth of monarchs anymore. There were mysterious hunters that hunted down these Monarch Realm beings. Boom! The war had broken out. The mysterious beings had crossed over from an unknown realm. They had used some kind of mystique to reach this place and enter the Emperor Road. In any case, the war had begun. It was a battle that didn't exist in this space-time. It originated from a special space-time zone. It was like a terrifying collision in the long river of time. The great stars of history were wailing, and the long river of time was about to collapse. A great war that could destroy the world. Even though it was separated by a mysterious space-time, it still rushed towards the undying heavenly Sunday. Fortunately, the undying heavenly sun was tough enough to withstand the sputtering energy. Otherwise, it would have collapsed. Kill! A loud roar exploded. The golden primordial spirit blazed with billions of source chi, causing the gray universe to tremble. The dark lightning that filled the sky exploded. The boundless darkness collapsed. The sleeping supreme deity's primordial spirit body was too domineering, collapsing all matter. It was completely like an unrivaled monarch pushing through, moving like a dragon or a tiger, forcing the creatures in the darkness to retreat step by step. Step by step, he even wanted to kill his way to the end of the mysterious universe. He wanted to kill his way into the reincarnation time. The more he fought, the stronger he became. Although it was just a primordial spirit, it was still too strong and invincible. Su Yin captured the supreme belief of suppressing the past, present, and future from his primordial spirit. Is this the Emperor's suppression art? Su Yin was shocked. It was difficult for him to see the whole picture of this battle. With the help of the heaven-opening writing brush, he saw some scenes of the battle. In short, the invincible golden war god became more and more shocking as he fought. In the end, he illuminated the universe as if he was the only war god in the world. He was unparalleled. Not good. What happened next sent chills down Su Yan's spine. Originally, the darkness that filled the sky was about to explode, but a shocking scene appeared. One after another, figures with terrifying auras like kings were born from the darkness. They seemed to have killed their way out of ancient times. Evil demons appeared, and blood light poured down like a waterfall. Lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled. Each of the terrifying creatures was like the source of destruction, full of destructive aura. A group of destroyers was extremely brutal. In their eyes that flashed in the darkness, the sun was destroyed, the moon sank, the golden age withered, and the invincible giants exploded. Emperor's blood dyed the ruined world red. Su Yan's head was about to explode. This group of destroyers was too terrifying. There were more than 10 of them. The powerful and unparalleled primordial spirit and the vast surging primordial chi were all obscured. It's over. Su Yan's face was pale because a destroyer had descended to this world. A destructive power was attacking the sleeping, supreme god's body. Su Yan clenched his fists, and his face was ashen. He was powerless to stop it. He could only watch and couldn't help. This situation wasn't something he could participate in. Perhaps there was still a glimmer of hope if he controlled the 9 provinces' heaven cauldrons. No, Su Yan roared. He couldn't bear to see this supreme being die like this. In the next moment, Su Yan's eyes widened. He saw the river of time explode, and a rain of time light poured down. A pitch-black figure that filled the sky rushed over like lightning. With a loud roar, the 6 paths of reincarnation appeared and attacked the destroyer. Crawl over here and die. It roared angrily like a peerless demon emperor. Its flesh shell covered in black hair was incomparably terrifying and domineering. It surged with holy light and released an invincible aura. Its roar made the destroyer that attacked the supreme god's body tremble. Ancient celestial emperors. Su Yan was shocked. He saw another person appear, releasing an extremely grand aura. He came and brandished his emperor's fist. The entire world fell silent, showing what it meant to be invincible, because everything was smelted, exploded, destroyed, and collapsed into ashes. The powerful destroyer was blasted apart by his fist. The emperor's fist was unparalleled, suppressing the universe. Nothing existed in this world anymore. Only this fist could crush everything.